And we're live now. I apologise for being very slightly late. A few technical problems, a slight change to the setup today, so I do apologise for that. Anyway, let's start the stream. Okay, so welcome to the Chibi-Akuma's live stream. Today we're going to be playing some DOS games. I'm going to be playing Return of the Phantom, and also we're going to probably be playing some Dune CD, and finally possibly some Space Invaders, Super Space Invaders rather. Now these are some games that I remember from my childhood. These are ones that I grew up playing when I was fairly young, but they're also maybe ones that I feel don't get as much respect as they possibly deserve. At least from my point of view, they seem to be more groundbreaking potentially than they actually were. Specifically Dune and also Return of the Phantom, which were ones I played on the CD machines, and they really took advantage of that. Anyway, let's start things up and let's start actually playing things. Okay, so hello there, I've got my camera working as you can see. We're going to be playing with DOSBox today. So these are the main two, Dune and Return of the Phantom. These are two games I owned when I was very young. Unfortunately the CDs I owned back in the day are long since lost, so we're playing off abandonware downloads today. What can you do? But I think they do accurately represent what the copies that I had before. Now I used to own a 386 16 megahertz, and although those machines typically didn't have CD drives, I got it second hand, and by the time I owned it the CD drives were actually becoming relatively affordable, so I upgraded the machine with a sound card and a CD drive, and then I bought up some cheap games that were available at the time for around sort of £10, something like that, and two of the ones I had was Dune CD and Return of the Phantom. Now both of these were games I'd played before. Hello there, Kiltech. Very kind of you to join me. So we're going to be playing some games that I grew up with here. So Return of the Phantom, this was a game one of my friends had, and he gave me a dodgy copy of it, I'll be honest there, and it's quite funny because it came with this, the copy protection was it had this big, this sort of 10-page novel basically that came with it, and so I went down the library and photocopied all the pages of it, and that copy protection circumvented, so that worked quite nicely. Dune I actually owned, I think I originally owned the floppy disk version, and then I bought the CD version later on. CD version, no, that's wrong. I can't have ever owned the floppy version. I think I must have just got the CD version straight away. Just thinking the technical differences between the two. I've seen the technical differences on the Amiga version, but I don't think I've ever seen the PC non-CD version. But we're going to do Return of the... Oh dear, sorry, I apologise. Typing on the wrong screen there. I need to switch over to my... I'm looking at the OBS window and typing, and it's doing things. So we're going to be doing Phantom first here. Let's have a look. So obviously we've got the game here. Now the game did come out on floppy disk, which was the copied version that I played, but later on I bought the CD version, and it's the CD version I'm playing today, because I think while the floppy disk version was perfectly respectable, nothing wrong with it, a nice game, but I think the CD version really brought that up to a new level, so let's give it a go. Now, in a case of emergencies, don't know what the volume level's like here for you, so I just need to listen to my stream here, just double check the volume level's about right. And it's okay, I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit, it seems a bit quiet here. It's kind of it's quite loud for me, but I guess it's not really loud enough there. So you can see we've got this quite nice introduction screen here, and as you saw, we've got the zooming animations, which did slow down on the real machines back in the day. So that's the kind of nature of the beast, so to speak. I'm going to get very confused with my mouse cursors here. I can see it coming already. And I'm just noticing we're not getting mouse capture, so let's see if I can do something about that. Just a moment. I was assuming I would want capture cursor disabled. Okay, so that's better. So we can. It's a point and click adventure, so we're going to need that mouse cursor, otherwise it's not going to make very much sense here. So we'll start by watching the introduction, and I'll probably talk over it. I can't remember how exciting it is, but so the guy who originally sort of introduced me to this game, apparently he was like a big Phantom of the Opera fan. If you get Phantom of the Opera fanboys, I guess he was. Apparently he'd seen it in France and he was like big obsessed on it. So he'd bought this game obviously because that was what you would do if you're into that kind of thing. And I played it. It was, you know, it's quite interesting, and I quite liked the style of it. Not knowing anything about the actual, you know, opera or anything, the story, it came across as very good to me and very, very enjoyable. But I don't. I hope I've not got a French version of the game here. Getting slightly concerned there. I did start this game up and just hear the audio, and the audio was in English, but I didn't remember that being in French in the title sequence. But anyway, I mean the thing again is this. What you're seeing here was all in the floppy disk version. I think the game came on 3 floppy disks. It wasn't very big. Well, 3 floppy disks was relatively big for those days. People had to work quite hard back then with their storage space. So it looks like we are in an English version. That's a relief. I thought my French was going to be challenged and I would be thoroughly humiliated then. Okay. So we got some animations and things. As I've said before, I mean, you got to sort of bear in mind that while all of this looks very mundane these days, frames of animation, they start really eating up disk space quite quickly. And when the original version came on 3 floppy disks, you didn't have very much you could do. And this, as I say, all of the animation here, Killtech, I was hoping people wouldn't necessarily know it. As I say, this is one that I think it deserves more attention than it probably got, and people have probably completely forgotten about it. So hopefully, as I say, I found it quite a quite enjoyable game, and found the story quite intriguing. So we're not going to play all of it. It's quite long, you know. I'd be playing for hours, and probably playing for the rest of the day. So we'll play it. We'll play for an hour, maybe 2 hours, and see how far I can get in. And if I get stuck, we'll just move over to Dune. And if I get stuck on Dune, we'll move over to Space Invaders. That's kind of the plan. So the style of the game is, I mean, it's not a comedy, obviously, but it's quite dramatic in places. The characters are motion captured, I think, you know, like Mortal Kombat was. And as I say, there's a spoil the plot a little bit. There's a time slip in it. The game starts set in present day, and then the player's character gets knocked out and wakes up playing one of the characters in the original historical sort of period of the Phantom of the Opera. So that was quite cute, and I think they did some parallels between the characters, like the characters were sort of the ancestors of the originals or something. So it was quite, it gave it quite nice feel to it. And overall I've won this game a couple of times, and it's very enjoyable game. It gives a good feel for the world the characters are playing in. So I'd say I quite like it. I've never been massively one for point and click adventures, but this is one, as I said, I do have a very fond memories of. So as you can see, the graphics are all VGA here. This is again this worked fine on a 386/16, so very limited power, and Super VGA was a mere dream of the future there. So as I say, this is what we had back then. Yeah, so even like animations like that were really quite impressive on a 386 for the time, because when you think the screen's got to be about, the screen's got to be about sort of 48 kilobytes of memory per frame. So doing large animations like this is going to be pushing things. I think that screen was on the floppy disk version, but as I say, the CD version had a lot of speech. I think all of the characters have full speech in the CD version, which is why you know, these days, unless you want the authentic floppy disk feel, you would want to go for the CD version. So we're going to start a game here. Now, I was reading a sort of walkthrough. Sorry, just let me reposition my windows. Hang on a minute. Just going to reposition my windows here so that I'm looking at the camera. That'll be nice, won't it? So there we go. That should be a bit better. So I'm going to start on novice. Now, I was reading a walkthrough, which I will resort to if things get desperate, but which they probably will, because it's quite a long game if you don't know where you're going. So apparently novice and challenging are virtually the same, and I don't think there's any change to the dialogue or the plot, so we'll just play novice.
Ah, Monsieur Montand, there you are. Step down here, please. I wish to speak with you.
So here's where we get the sort of CD version. So the floppy disk version looked identical. The CD version has full speech. Very nice indeed. So point and click. We got our nice, what's the word? We got our nice sort of rotoscope, the video captured actor here. So very nice and big dramatic background here. Moving a little bit slowly, maybe. I don't think we can change the scroll speed, but I don't think we can.
We were so fortunate that you were attending the premiere tonight. Without your assistance in caring for the victims and dealing with the ensuing chaos, the situation would have been much worse.
Okay.
I thank you for all you have done, Raoul. It is not every detective with the Sûreté who is also a patron of the opera. I do hope you will continue to investigate this horrible tragedy. I am afraid we have only just begun. Let us discuss how to proceed.
Oh, sorry, I've got to select. Well,
Yes, I'm listening, Monsieur Brie.
we'll try and skip through it as much as possible.
This tragedy disturbs me a great deal.
I can understand how upset you are.
What do you mean? Oh, a chandelier's fallen from the roof. Why are you possibly upset by that? It seemed a bit of an odd answer there.
Upset? For heaven's
There you
sake,
go.
there's a madman
That's
loose.
what I was thinking.
He might strike again at any moment.
Okay.
Who do you suggest I speak with?
Oh, I have to click
Find
after another
Charles,
one.
our stage manager.
You need an autoplay
He
mode.
should be able to help you.
Where can I find Charles?
Just gonna position my walkthrough here, just because I'm sure it's gonna get desperate at
You
some
should
point.
be able to find him in the stage left wing at his post.
Okay, sorry about that. Just having to get my ear though. Oh. Oh dear.
What do you want me to do then, Monsieur?
I would like you to explore the theater. Talk to people you see. Find out where this madman is hiding. Good Lord, man, there were people murdered tonight. And I don't think this lunatic is going to stop there. Please, I ask you, Raoul, as a friend. See what you can find
I've still
out.
got a bit of a cough this week.
I shall be in my office shortly. Come find me and give me a report on your progress. Then I'll give you further instruction.
So,
Good luck.
I mean, the audio isn't amazing on this, but
Until later,
back in the day this game was released, the Sound Blaster
What?
Pro
Leaving
was
so
the
soon?
standard.
I've
I
not
actually had
finished
the
talking
Sound
to you.
Blaster
Are you sure you
16,
wanna
the
leave?
later version, which could do 16-bit audio, but it actually did the 8-bit audio worse. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Very well. I shall be in my office
Told him.
later, should you wish to speak with me.
So the 8-bit audio would click on the 16-bit system. Like the emulation wasn't quite right, I guess. Keep walking around like that. I didn't want to walk here. I want to look at it. Okay. So yeah, as I say, the audio it's only using, I think, 100 megabytes of storage space, and obviously the CD would be 600-700 megabytes. So it's hardly pushing the CD storage, but I think from the point of view of the CPU power of the machine and also the actual audio ability of the Sound Blaster Pro, say it couldn't. I don't think the Sound Blaster Pro could do 16-bit audio. There's a trapdoor there. I think that comes up later. I think there's a scene where there's a lady kidnapped, and she's kidnapped through the trapdoor, maybe? Or maybe that's the only way for us to get onto the stage here. Been a while. Push this. Yeah, okay, I think this is a sort of minor puzzle that we have to actually get to the stage via the trapdoor here. There we go. So I think the game, I'm pretty certain, has to be 256 colour. I can't believe it's 16. Yeah, it's got to be. There's far too many colours in there for 16. So it's about as good as you could get for the time it was released. Now these, we have to pick these. We'll see these at many times, and we have to pick them all up. I can't remember. We need them at some point later. I can't remember what we do with them, but we do have to collect them. Now, there's a sort of, as I say, we will actually, at some point, travel to the past, and there's a sort of clue that something's afoot when we find the modern gels in the past. So, as I say, it's kind of like, that's our clue that something's going on.
Yes, what is it?
Are you Charles?
Yes, I am Charles.
Please, tell me about your job here at the theater.
I am the stage manager. Since you obviously do not know what that is, I shall tell you. Quite literally, the stage manager runs the show once rehearsals have ended and the show opens. A show belongs to the director only until opening night, at which time I am in charge.
Please tell me a little about the Opera House.
The Opera House was designed by Charles Garnier and first commissioned during the reign of Emperor Napoleon III. Construction began in 1854.
We're gonna skip all of that. I don't
Continue
think you
describing
need
your
to hear
job.
that.
For my command station here, I stay in constant communication with...
What sort of personnel
Personnel problems, that sounds a bit more interesting.
I make sure everyone is here on time, for one thing. I take care of personality clashes between stars.
Goodbye for now.
Well, I did have more to tell you, but never mind.
Well, I don't think
Goodbye.
he's very interesting. I'll just skip him. So we can go up here or in here. Let's go in here. I can't see any more of those gels in this scene, so we'll just keep plodding along. Yeah, I think there's some dancers or some actresses and actors or something up here, so we can go and maybe talk to them. Ooh, nice scrolling effect there. The size of these sort of images must be pretty good big. Yeah, the backgrounds look very nicely painted, obviously. This one would probably, if this machine was more powerful, I could probably upscale it quite. 256 colours tends to upscale quite nicely. It would give it a fairly artificial painted look, which I think would probably suit this game quite nicely, really. There's an irony of these old games. Like I've said before, the Seventh Guest will upscale very nicely because it's got a kind of cartoony look, if you will, because of the 256 colours. But the 11th Hour, the sequel, which was almost true colour, that doesn't upscale well because there's almost no repetition of colours.
Have a seat while I practice.
So we're not going to seriously have to watch her dance, are we? Oh, okay, no.
Bonjour. I am Detective Raoul Monton.
I am Julie Geary. What can I do for you?
What are your thoughts regarding the Chandelier tragedy?
I am glad you asked. It was the opera ghost. He has returned. I always knew he would.
How do you know it's the ghost?
Because I saw him.
What did he look like?
He was dressed formally, but his clothes were rather old-fashioned, of the kind they wore during his day. He had on a cape and was carrying a cane.
I think
He was
so.
not
I mean,
wearing
it was
a mask.
early
I
90s.
only got a glimpse of his face, for it was
I
very
don't have
dark.
the year on screen, and I don't
Like
want
a
to
skull.
risk switching, tabbing out again in case the mouse locks up like last time.
Where
I
and
think
when
it was
did you
like
see
around 91, 92. As I say, it was essentially a 386 game. So
It was 2
yeah,
nights ago.
I think it would have
I
been.
was coming out of my dressing room and I saw him on the staircase. He turned
I
to
think
me,
I was.
then quickly
Yeah, I
ran
think
up
it
the
was
stairs.
92.
I was too frightened to follow.
Why do you say that
As I say,
you
the game.
always knew
The first
he
time I
would
came
return?
across the game was before I had the CD drive, and when I got the CD version, it was pretty old. It was already in the sort of budget
Because I
CDs,
had
which is
dreamt
why
about it.
why I was able
I
to
had
buy
some
it.
of the powers that my great-grandmother had, you see.
Okay, so I think. So this
Your
is one of the characters
great-grandmother?
we're going to meet, the great grandmother of
Enlighten
after
me.
the time slip. So I'm
Madame Geary
I've
was
never
back
played
out
too many of these
as
point and
once
click
again
games
you
to
would
be
call an
able to
usher.
particularly
She looked
compare
after
how
the
this one
boxes. She was in
technically
charge of the Phantom's personal
compares to the
box.
other ones. I'm saying it was one that I quite enjoyed. It was one that I quite
Personal
enjoyed
box.
when I
Go
only
on,
had the floppy disk version, and then when you played the CD version and it had all
It
this
was
nice
box
speech, it
5.
was
He had
was
ordered the
even more
manager of the
impressive
opera
than
to
it already
never
had been,
sell the
so-
box, as it was
so-
his. He would attend the opera in that box, but no one knew how he got into it. He certainly didn't go through the door.
okay. So we're getting a clue here that there's a secret door in the box, which comes up later.
Didn't your great-grandmother see him in the box?
Never. She never tried to see him. She was a little afraid of him despite his kindness. But my mother says that great-grandmother told her that box 5 had some kind of trick in it.
Yeah, there we go. Not being
Tell me
massively
about your
subtle there, are
dreams.
we? I think there's, as I say, this book that was actually the
I
unlock
see him in
for
the
the
haze of
copy
darkness and
protection.
shadows.
I think that might have even said that there was
He
like,
has a woman
it
with
certainly
him
says there's like
dressed in
secret
white.
doors in
But I
the
cannot
secret
see her face.
combinations and
She is
doors and
wearing a
thing
mask.
and passages.
I think I know who
But
she
I
might be,
don't know
though.
if it might have even actually said there's a secret passage in the box. But as I say, they're certainly not.
Tell me more about
not
Madame
really.
Geary.
They're making it very obvious that there's a secret door in the box, really, aren't they?
To put it bluntly, she was a psychic. She communicated with the Phantom without ever seeing him or speaking to him directly.
Okay.
She also wrote a book.
Tell me about the book.
She wrote it around the turn of the century, after the Phantom's supposed death.
Okay, I think we're getting a
She
clue
became
that we
something
want
of an
to
authority on the matter.
find this book.
If you haven't read it, you probably should.
Communicated with him?
Yes, He would leave her instructions in his box, but she almost always knew beforehand what he wanted and provided it. The ghost tipped her very well. He was good to her.
Good bit of bribery going on there
She
between
is.
the Phantom and the lady there. According to the
was in
little
love
book,
with a singer named
the Phantom was
Christine Day.
was blackmailing
It could be
the
her.
opera house
But
and things.
I have a
So
theory that it might be Christine Florent.
he wasn't just
There's some kind of connection.
he
between
wasn't
the
just
two.
some irrelevant
Not only do
like
they
character
look
lurking
alike,
around. He was
but they
actually
are both
causing a lot of
gifted
trouble to
singers.
the
Perhaps that is why the
to
ghost
the
has
opera
returned
house.
here and now, because of her.
Oh, there we go.
Tell me a little about your...
Well, I am a dancer with the ballet corps. I am taking acting lessons and hope to become a prima donna like Christine.
How long
skip
have you been
through this a little
associated
bit. I
with
don't-
the opera?
Don't think she has anything more
My
particularly.
family has been with the opera
say.
all the way back to my great-grandmother. My mother was a costume seamstress. My grandmother was in the ballet like me. My great-grandmother,
Do you know Christine Florent well?
she's very sweet, but she tends to keep to herself, like most prima donnas. I believe that she knows more about this chandelier incident than she lets on.
What do you think she knows?
When I mentioned that I saw the opera ghost the other day, she turned quite pale and said not to spread such a rumor.
Merci. I shall speak with you later.
Adieu, monsieur.
Unfortunately, I can't remember how the rules of this game work, to what extent you have to talk to people to unlock later events. As I say, I think that mentioning of a book is actually something we do need to do, but I don't know if that event, the potential to sort of fulfill that event is unlocked by just talking to her, or if we actually have to hear her mention the book. So anyway. It's locked, okay. Is there anything here we need to... Maybe not. I thought maybe there was something in there. Okay, I guess we have to go up another flight here and see who's at the top. So I think the more important performer is at the top floor, maybe. Maybe that's why there wasn't much to do down there. I wonder to what extent these are the same graphic being repeated. Fire axe. Now there's a bit of foreshadowing there. The fire axe we use later on to smash open one of the doors. There's like screaming inside the room or something, and we have to go in. So they've done. So there's a few random items that you see now that will be used later. So that's one of them. So I think we can go and steal that note. But I think she'll give. I think we get that note later on, so we won't be a sneaky person. We'll go and ask her, and maybe she'll
Bonjour.
tell us
How are you?
we can have it anyway.
Bonjour. I am Raoul Monton of the Sûreté.
I don't
I am
think there's
Christine
many
Florent.
ways to die in this
I'm
game.
glad you are here. Please sit down.
Sorry. When we go down into the catacombs, there is a few puzzles and a few traps and things that can kill us. But I think up until that point, there's nothing we can do
Why are you
that
glad
will
I am
cause us to
here?
fail. You know, that we can't ask the wrong question and the person gets angry and won't deal with
Because
us
I
anymore
believe
or
I am
anything.
in danger. I've been afraid to mention it.
Why do you think you are in
Although
danger?
that said, we should make a backup just in case the game crashes, because who knows.
It's somehow connected with a chandelier falling tonight.
What do you mean by until tonight?
You have a kind face, monsieur. I sense that I can trust you.
Can you tell me anything about the chandelier falling?
Yes, I suppose I must speak up now. I've been afraid to mention anything until this happened. I believe it is all because of me that those poor people were killed.
Why do you think it is all because of you?
Because the opera ghost has returned to seek his revenge. But why me? I do not know.
The opera ghost? What do you know about him?
Only that his name was Eric, and he was a talented composer and architect. Some say he possessed some black magic abilities, but who knows? You probably think I might.
Tell me about your dreams.
There is a mysterious man, dressed formally, in a cape. He's standing in the shadows with a mist surrounding.
What else happens in the dream?
He makes love to me. At first it is passionate and pleasurable, but then I always begin to feel trapped, and I struggle to get away. I reach up to move his face into.
What does he do then?
My attempt to see him angers him, and he wraps a thin rope around my neck. He starts to strangle me. Just as I start to black out, I wake up.
What makes you think he's after you?
Because I received a note
Ah,
from
here
him.
we go. Yeah, give us the note.
Do you still have this?
Yes? If you want it, you can have it. It's there in my dressing gown.
I'll take a look at that note.
Please do.
Beware.
We get the
I
note.
have returned to seek my revenge against you for leaving me to die in loneliness and solitude. Not even your lover can save you this time.
Have you ever heard of Christine Day?
Yes, I know the story of the Phantom. No one knows what happened to Christine Day and her lover, Raoul de Chagny. Supposedly they
Yeah, so
disappeared
we-
together.
Yeah, we're
You're not related to her,
quite
are you?
unsubtly pointing out the fact that a lot of the current
Frankly,
characters
I
are
do not know.
related to
My
or
grandmother was orphaned, so I'm
and
unsure of my
look
lineage
very
prior
similar
to
to
her.
previous characters. And as
There
I
is
say, we
only
later
one
on slip into the
curious
past,
clue.
and they use the same actors, I think, and voice actors and things to play the parts of
Have
the
you ever seen
younger
him
versions.
when you're awake?
Never. Only in the dream. But little
And what is that?
that she was born in Scandinavia, and that was where Christine Day was from. And to where it is speculated that she and Raoul de Chagny fled.
Well, the same name as our
Adieu,
character. So
Mademoiselle
again,
Florent.
it's all of
I
these-
must leave now.
all of these characters
monsieur.
play two parts,
Do
basically.
not leave me, please. I am frightened.
I must continue my...
I see. But promise me that you will return, all right? I feel like we have known each other before.
I promise to return.
Merci, monsieur. I look forward to seeing you again. Adieu.
The mirror, again, I can remember little bits of it. The mirror is like a false mirror or something. Oh, okay. It's like a false mirror, and the Phantom can see through it or can come through it, maybe, or something. So, yeah. So, let's... how do we save our game? There we go. Okay, we've got some old save games here. These aren't mine. So we'll save that one there just in case we get some nasty crash, or wouldn't want to go too far back because obviously it's kind of slow enough the first time. So if we do have problems, I guess we'd have to just move along. Now, I'm just going to check my walkthrough here because I don't want to be okay, so we need to go to the circular staircase here. Because I just don't want to be wandering around aimlessly for hours, because this is one of those games where you do get if you missed a cell or something, one of those the gels, sorry, the coloured gels. There's some points where you need to have a certain item or speak to a certain person, and if you don't know where you're going, you could literally be wandering around watching up and down these stairs all day and night. So it can get quite slow if you're not sure what you're doing. But I mean, that's always part of the charm of these games, and as long as they don't get too repetitive, I find it quite quite calm. You're just looking around for things and checking random objects and things. But as I say, if you're doing it for a few minutes or half an hour, it's quite relaxing. But if you're doing it for 6 hours, it just drives you mad. So I find some of these games have a button where you can click on it for a hint every so often and stop you getting stuck, but other ones don't. So I don't remember that this one has any kind of hints mechanism if you're stuck, unfortunately. So we can go up or we can go down. I think my guide is saying sacre bleu. Someone didn't call heads, and now we're getting some. Now we're getting some good theatre education here. Should have shouted heads, apparently. He's not trusting it a second time. He's having a good look there. Make sure another one's not coming. There's another gel. What's that? A bear. Viva la France, is it? Maybe? I'm not sure. Some writing there. So we can only go through the door here. So let's go through the door. No. I thought we had to go in here. Okay, just looking at my walkthrough. Apparently all we came down here was for the red frame. A bit disappointing. I thought maybe there was someone to talk to. I think this game does make a nice a case for what a good job you can do with just 256 colours. Anyway, I think especially at low resolutions, I think you can really do everything you're likely to need to. Oh, we've got a nice bit of animation there. Yeah, creepy feeling. Bit of the old hemp. Is there anything to do here? So, what are we doing here then? Dramatic music there. Oh, there's another gel. I can't remember what we have to do with them. Maybe the psychic woman says, "Oh, you need to find objects from your time" or some nonsense. I mean, you ain't picking up more coloured gels than I've got strapped to all my lights around here. It's a bit ridiculous. Okay. That looks like a bad idea. Let's try and take that. Nasty suspicion someone's going to push us down the hole or something.
It is time that we settle our differences.
Okay.
100 years is a long time to hold a grudge, and the weight of it has become unbearable. Revenge is the sweetest of all music, and soon the opera house shall be ringing with it.
That's quite nice. I quite like that. It's quite a nice over-dramatic bit of statement there. So, another one. God, grief, there are a lot. there being this many of them. I have to be honest. I say some of them are in the past. I think a door opens up here later. So there's a secret door in the Phantom's box, and I think it opens up here as well, and it's kind of a portal to shortcut us to different places in the map. Oh. Sorry, I'm just reading my my walkthrough here. Apparently we should have actually tried to pick up that sandbag. Okay, I don't think it matters. From what I'm reading, we need to pick it up, and then we need to go back to the broken chandelier anyway. So we've not wasted any time. A useful thing, a broken sandbag. Seems to be scrolling. We got. Oh, I was just wondering what these other two boxes did, but it's showing a picture of the item. Could do with a map and a quick teleport or something. I've no idea if there's any other versions of this game other than the PC. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know if it was better known in other countries. I've never really heard anyone mention it before. I mean, Dune obviously very famous, and that did come out on the Amiga. And the Amiga version and the PC version, I believe, are basically the same, with the exception of the CD version has the extra sound and the extra features. But as I say, this one I think maybe it was just PC only, and probably no one remembers it because it was a bit weird. But as I say, quite enjoy the style of it, and despite not particularly being into point-and-click adventures, I found it quite an enjoyable one, and made good use of the hardware for the time, because obviously, you know, when your entire game has to fit on 3 floppy disks, you can't really be using loads of video or anything. It's not like you can do a Seventh Guest style game, because you've not. Okay. We are. I think we are going the right way. Oh, what are you doing? Again, another very nice background here. Really put a lot of effort into that. Okay. Okay. Is this going to scroll? So I'm having to use the cheat manual here, otherwise we'll be here for thousands of hours. So we've got to go into here, and apparently this book is around somewhere that the girl mentioned. It's not quite sure why we needed to know that, but apparently we did.
Ah, Monsieur Montan, tell me what you've learned.
The Phantom has communicated to us by writing.
Oh? Really? The Phantom, eh? Well, let's see what you
Okay,
have.
so I think we have to
Well,
present
anyone
all
can write a
all
note
of
and
our
sign it
evidence to this
OG.
guy, and if we do a good enough job, then we get the next section of the game unlocked. I think it works like that. I found a note addressed to
Found a
me.
note addressed to me.
Really? This is extraordinary. I, too, have a note from the Opera Ghost. I thought it was a sick joke at first, but now... Well, here it is on the desk. Take it. I suppose I should have said something.
You do not have my permission to perform my Don Juan triumphant.
Okay.
Cease the production
This is
immediately, or I shall cause
what
thee a great deal
the
of
story
distress.
says the Phantom was doing. He was making demands for money and demands for artistic choices.
It seems that this opera ghost of yours does exist.
Oh, come now, Raoul. You've been
I am not sure.
What do you mean by that, Raoul?
Falling sandbags.
What? Did you have an accident?
It was no
It was
accident.
no accident.
Oh dear. My insurance premium is really going to go up now. Thank goodness you're all right.
Yeah, priorities. Worry about your insurance before the survival of your people. Yeah, very good. I have more investigating
more
to do.
investigating to do.
So I've obviously got
Adieu,
more
Monsieur
items to
Breen.
find here. So, okay.
Adieu, Raoul. Please return when you've learned more and we'll talk.
Yeah. Well, it seems like I've already managed to miss something because according to the walkthrough, it says something else should have happened there. Oh, okay, maybe it was just that. Let's go and talk to him again. See, apparently we needed to tell him there's been a crime in the library. You know, despite he might not know this, being as the room next to him has got an object smashed in. I guess he's not too observant. So let's talk to him and see if we can tell him about that.
Ah, you're back. Learned anything new?
There has been another crime in the library.
What do you mean?
Apparently, during the chaos,
What? In the library?
In the room directly
Oh, no.
next to you, didn't you notice?
We were...
the artifacts are missing.
No! They're priceless. But who would have wanted them?
Oh no, my insurance
No use,
premiums!
really, to anyone, but...
My insurance premiums, damn it! No use to anyone but the Phantom or someone with an eBay account, obviously. I guess this
seems that this
predates
opera
eBay. You
ghost
couldn't
of
sell
yours
things on
does
eBay
exist.
back then.
Oh, come now, Raoul. You've been listening to too many rumors.
I have more investigating.
Adieu, Raoul. Please return when you've
Apparently
learned
have
more and
more
we'll talk.
investigating to do. I have a nasty suspicion I've missed something. Let me just scan through my notes here. Can't see anything. Just click on the wrong window again there. Good. This is one of these games that you kind of feel like you need to win once off camera and learn how to do it quickly and then do the live stream later, but what fun is that going to be? Let's go in here and have a look in here instead and see if according to the documentation I don't need to go in here, but I think this is all only relevant later on, where there's a scene where we watch one of the performances, and I think we have to go in here. Maybe we're going to need to listen to what that guy we interrupted. Maybe we need to listen to him some more. Maybe he had something else to say.
Go on, please.
The work was halted in 1870 with a prison.
Okay,
Many
I'm just going to
prisoners
skip
were
through all of this.
It covers nearly 3 acres.
Tell me more about the...
The water
we
level
end
on
up
the
in the
site was bad.
Catacombs
How
at
do I
some
get
point.
down?
You can't. It was sealed off long ago.
By the way,
What of it?
can you tell...
Everyone was in the appropriate positions.
Do you have any...
Well, I don't, but some of...
How was the chandelier...
There is an alcove in the ceiling.
What do you mean?
They believe it's the opera ghost.
Opera ghost?
Yes, isn't it silly?
Who is...
Her name is Julie Geary.
Who else might...
As soon as I finish what I'm doing...
Goodbye for now.
You're welcome. Now I can finish writing down these sound cues so I can get out of here and go home. Goodbye, sir.
He's a bit disappointed to be speaking to us. Never mind. So I'm going to go all the way up to the top and talk to the lady at the top. I have the feeling the girl doesn't have anything else to say. So I think I'll try on the way down if the lady at the top doesn't say anything exciting, but I'm pretty sure she's not that important a character. Yeah, it's a very slow game, this. Maybe we should have had some split screen going on and tried to control June and Phantom at the same time on 2 different windows or something. Probably failed at both terribly, but might have reduced the amount of sitting around waiting.
Hello again, monsieur. I'm glad to see that you've returned. Nothing has happened since I last spoke to you. If
Okay,
there's
well,
more that you need to do...
That was a serious snubbing there. Nothing to say to me. This one's open? No. Okay, well, I will have to try talking to the girl then.
Back again so soon, monsieur? I believe I've told you all I have to say, monsieur.
Okay,
Good luck
let's have
in
a
getting
look
to the
at-
bottom of all of this.
goodness, what's in
Adieu.
there? Keep clicking on the wrong window. Oh. Do I have the yellow frame? Yes, I do. I'm really not clear what I'm missing here.
not have my permission to perform my Don Juan triumphant. Cease the production immediately, or I shall cause thee a great deal of stress.
Can we open this door? Later on we can, I don't. No, we can't yet. I'm not seeing what I'm doing wrong here. Unless it was just because we, maybe it was just because we didn't talk enough to Charles. I suppose that's possible. Been punished for my haste earlier, I guess. Yeah. Fix some of my layout here. Been making some changes to my theme, but haven't set up this window correctly there, so just getting the extra graphics in. He's certainly not the investigator you'd want if there was a sort of hurry on, would you? He seems to be quite leisurely in his casual strolling around while there's a potential killer on the loose. Let's have another talk to him, see if...
Ah, you're back. Learned anything new?
Oh, okay.
It seems that this opera ghost
I guess
of
talking
yours
to
does
Charles must have unlocked that, because I don't think I did anything else.
Oh, come now, Raoul. You've
Yeah,
been
okay.
listening to too many rumors.
So
You and
I've
Charles
learned a lesson
sound
there.
alike.
Even if I don't want to hear what they say, I've got to click through all of their speech until they run
Well,
out of
he
things to
doesn't
say.
believe these rumors either. We're both sane, rational men.
It seems to me we're...
Well, if one believes in that sort of thing, do you?
Yes, it's the only explanation.
Then you are much more fanciful than I, Raoul. But all of
You'd
this
be a
does
bit
give
worried
me-
if your detective turned up and said, well, it's clear that the murder was supernatural here. Oh, that explains it all. Yeah. It's not quite,
Well,
not quite going to
What
fill
do
you
you have
with
to say about all this?
reassurance, is it? Anyway.
Perhaps there is more to this than I thought. Do you really think this could be the work of the original Phantom of the Opera? Has Eric really returned?
Yes, I think so.
Again, I don't think...
Well, I shall
I
await
don't think
further
it matters.
information before I commit to such a leap of faith.
Yeah, I
The
do kind of agree with that
evidence
comment.
is compelling.
I think we can just click on the most
Well,
absurd
Raoul,
options we want, and
sounds
the
as
game
if
will
you've
just
done an
continue
excellent job
just
with
fine.
investigating this
But
case.
I think I
Seems
was.
that all evidence points to the existence of something or someone trying to make us believe that he is the real Phantom of the Opera. I say we should...
Yes, it's definitely ghosts. We've proved it. There was some broken glass and a cut rope. But the only conclusion is that ghosts have come back from the past to haunt us.
What was that? Who was that?
No human could have cut ropes this way.
Quickly, go to Christine's dressing room. Find out what happened.
Quick, walk very slowly to Christine's dressing room. And don't forget to double check for any falling sandbags as you do. Oh, it's a relief we don't have to watch all that again. Not much of a hurry there, was he, to get through that door?
She's dead! I saw him, monsieur! The Phantom! He was wearing his mask this time! I was backstage when he came running out of the stage right
Suspicious.
He ran up
Scene of the crime.
staircase towards the fly loft. Hurry! He's probably still there!
We're not going to bother checking for vital signs. We don't do that around here. We're just going to walk casually towards the general direction the killer went, and hope that he's got a very bad leg and can't move any faster than us. I think that's the strategy we're going for here. Oh, God. Good grief. Speedy's walking here is a bit ridiculous. So when there's just general goings on, fair enough. But when you're, yeah, exactly. I mean, he's supposed to be running after a murderer, and he's walking more slowly than a golf simulator. It's a bit absurd. I mean, I think we need to have a competition between the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde guy and this guy to see who walks slower. I think it's got to be 50-50. I'm kind of guessing DOSBox has some kind of fast forward button, but I daren't mess with it because this machine's not the fastest one in the world, and I don't want to upset the streaming software. So I'm gonna just have to leave that as is. I know you can up and down the cycles, but the game does rate control, so just increasing the processing power of the machine wouldn't make a difference. You would actually have to artificially fast forward the game to get it to move any faster. So, oh, here we go. So, oh no! Been pushed off and we bang our head and wake up in the past. Spoilers. Should have said spoilers. You awake?
Raoul!
And so now they're going to use the exact same voice
Are you
actors
alright?
and characters again as their past incarnations.
Monsieur de Chenet! Oh,
He's different.
dear. Oh, dear. Wait, he's opening his eyes. He's awake. Dieu merci. Thank God.
Oh, Raoul! Are you alright? Can you hear me?
It sounds a bit echoey. I don't know if it's just a compression problem or if it's intentional. Where am I?
Where am I?
Why, you're on the stage of the opera. You had a bad fall. What were you doing in the fly loft, Raoul? You're lucky you bounced off of a flat. My love, you could have been killed.
Her voice acting doesn't quite sound as good as the others. Maybe it's my imagination, but she doesn't quite sound as
But the Phantom, he pushed me.
inspiring as the other one. Most of them are okay though.
The Phantom? You mean the opera ghost? You saw him? My dear Vicomte, are you sure?
He's had a bad fall, Monsieur Richard. He needs to rest.
Oh, yeah,
Did
so
you
here we
call
go.
me
So we're now
Vicomte?
playing this other
Raoul,
character who has the
don't
first
tell
name.
us
as
that you
his,
have
of course.
amnesia.
You are Raoul, the Vicomte de Chenet. Have you forgotten?
What year is it? It's coming.
Dear
I'm sure it's
Raoul.
bound to come.
That should help, shouldn't it?
The Phantom, he just killed Mademoiselle Florent.
He killed who?
Mademoiselle Florent?
The poor man is delirious. Shall we take...
Who are you?
I'm Christine. Remember Christine Day?
Here we go. Here we go. Here it is.
Wait, can you tell me the date?
Why, it's June 24.
What is the year?
The year? Why, 'tis 1881.
all year long?
Now, the trouble with this, of course, is you immediately know
Day?
as soon as all this happens that at the end of the game you're just going to wake up and it's back to present day again. So it's a bit,
Raoul, who
it's quite
is
fun, but
Christine
as I
Florent?
say,
I
it
think
does
you must see the doctor.
does leave them with only one way to go for the game to end. You know, you're just going to wake up in present day again.
Who is he?
You know Monsieur Richard. He's the manager.
Don't worry about it, old man. Rest your head. It will all come back to you in a while. But I must know about that unusual tuxedo you are wearing. Where did it come from? I have never seen that style before. Very dashing.
The tuxedo? I got it in London.
That figures. Those Englishmen are always trying to push the boundaries of fashion.
Please go now.
Those damn Englishmen.
I'll be all right.
Of course. I must run out for a bit, Raoul. I shall be in my dressing room in a while. Please, come visit me. I need... Adieu. See you soon.
You take it easy, Raoul. I shall be in my office. Come see me in a bit. I have received yet another
Okay.
note from our friend, the Opera Ghost. Adieu for now.
So apparently we've lost all of our cells and we need the gels. We need to go and pick
What
them
has
all up
happened
again.
to me? I've gone back in time somehow.
Pinch yourself. That'll fix
And
it.
they say I'm Raoul de
Oh,
Chantilly.
they've actually drawn him pinching himself.
Ouch.
That's
Well, I'm
dedication
away,
to your
but I'm
art,
still
that
here.
is. I think we could have just taken
I guess
that.
all I can do is work this
taken
thing
that
out.
on as read that he was going to do.
Maybe catching the Phantom is the key. All right. I'll go along with this, whatever it is. Look out, Eric, Monsieur Phantom of the Opera. I've got your number.
I don't know why he's so confident here. Last time he met the Phantom, he was pushed off and lost consciousness. I don't know where this sudden certainty that he can beat the Phantom's come in. But anyway, so let's have a look. I don't know if the gels appear in the same places as they did before. I think that one's in the same spot. Seems to say okay, we'll go this way. Okay, I can. I didn't realise that. Let's do a save. Okay. So I assume we want to go down here. Oh, there's a new item here. Oh, I'll go back through it in a second. There's like this little hook thing here that's appeared. the gels are in the exact same spots as they were in the present day. So okay. Can we go through here? Yes, we can now. Well, didn't actually want to, but I can't remember if any of the artwork is different. I think it's all the same. You'd have thought if we were 100 years in the past, things would look a bit neater. And yeah, they say it does say "Viva la France" now, so they have slightly changed it. So it's quite a nice little touch. I'm guessing we want that. That looks like a useful thing to have. Can we go down? Didn't realise we could go further down. Let's go shopping. Let's grab that rope. We'll have that. Sturdy rope. I don't think we can really take the mug. I don't remember this scene down here. I think we probably just wanted that rope. Let's go up this time. Reading the notes here. Apparently we need to go back up to the catwalk, to the scene of our own attempted murder, I guess. See what's going on up there. I think there's maybe a note or a clue or something. Or maybe we're just going to be pushed back down again. Maybe that's all that happens in this game. There was a gel up here before, wasn't there? It doesn't seem to be here now, so the first two did seem to be in the same positions, but this one doesn't seem to be. Oh, maybe I'm just forgetting where it was. Grab that thing. Can't see anything, but I mean, maybe we need to look at the rope. This is a spoiler one. At the end of the game, you end up fighting the Phantom on the top of the chandelier. I don't know if there's anything we can do down here before that. Done a lot of work on the old motion capture of the main character, you know, climbing up and down things, pinching himself. I'm assuming, maybe incorrectly, I was assuming that this was some kind of motion capture, like of a real actor. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a drawing. It's difficult to tell. I guess it would make more sense for it to be a drawing at such low resolution. It's just with the I don't know how they tend to do these things. So modern frame. Yeah, we already established that. So nothing very interesting there. What I wouldn't give for a fast forward button. It's difficult because you sometimes feel that the whole, if you play these games with these sort of modern things like fast forward modes and things and save states in some cases, sometimes these games just end up with nothing left to them at all. Like if you played this game and you could just fast forward and skip around the map and things, would there be actually any game left to play? I remember playing Chucky Egg 2 on the Amstrad, when I was a kid, and I was really trying hard to win that game. And I drew a map of all of the scenes. I drew each one on a bit of paper and taped them all together in the attempt of like winning the game. And I played it loads of times and saved states to disc to tape. I never managed to get anywhere really in it. And then when I was at university and I was bored one weekend, I tried it on the PC with save states, and I think I won it in a few hours. And you're just like, I remember that game being really, really hard, and you're like, I never got anywhere in it, and I thought maybe it was unwinnable, and it's not that hard at all. And my sister sort of said the same thing, that she'd done the same thing basically, and it was just like, well, the game. Once you got modern save states and you weren't waiting for a cassette to load and save every time, it was very, very easy. And I was playing.
I am Jacques, and I know who you are, monsieur. It is a pleasure to.
I was playing Dune 2000 on my 4K monitor with the Grunt Mods add-on. I forgot the name of it. There's a patch for it, and you can run it with modern settings. And playing Dune 2000 on a 4K screen is not the same as playing Dune 2000 on an 800 by 600 screen, because you can see the enemies coming a mile off. You don't even need the radar because some of the maps are smaller than the screen. So, I'll say if you had fast forward on this, I think.
What do you do here at the opera?
I think you'd lose some of the feeling of the game, because the pacing would just be lost and it just wouldn't have the same gravitas to it.
Wonderful job, but it was a bit hard on the feet until they installed that little seat. At my insistence, I might add. I used to have to stand for the duration of the entire.
You are not the opera ghost, I take it.
No, mon Dieu, Lord, no. I don't look a bit like him.
Yeah, I guess
Have
these.
you ever seen
I'm
the
looking.
opera
I
ghost?
guess these are drawings, aren't they? They aren't photographs or anything.
I have indeed. I was in the flyloft, helping with rigging some
I
scenery.
was just wondering if those are drawings or video capture.
Watching me
They look very good. Maybe they could be drawings,
What did he look like?
but I'm sure that is.
He was tall and was wearing dark, formal attire. He had a long cape. I could not see his face, for he was.
Why does he wear a mask, I
Does he
wonder?
wear a mask? Anyway.
Why, to cover the hideousness of his deformity. It is said that no man can look upon his features and not be repulsed.
What happened after he stood staring at you?
We had a face-off.
Face
for several
off.
minutes.
Starring
I
Nicolas
was
Cage.
terrified to move. Then, after a while, he simply pulled his cape around himself and vanished into thin air. I almost dropped the line I was holding. I had not been to the flyloft.
What can you tell me about the...
Only what I have heard from other people. His real name is Eric, and he's as much flesh and blood as you or I.
How do I find the catacombs?
they've been...
Yeah,
sealed
so
off.
again, the same thing about
There was
the
once an
catacombs.
entrance from the cellar,
We do
but
end
it
up
was
in the
too dangerous.
catacombs later, but I think we
Now
go
there is
down
no
through the
entrance,
secret passage
except perhaps
in
the sewage system.
the Phantom's
There
box.
must be a secret entrance somewhere.
Do you know
Yeah,
anything about his
secret
past?
entrance.
He was born disfigured. The first gift his mother gave to him was a mask. Despite his handicap, he grew up exceptionally in...
His music?
Yes. He has a pipe organ in his abode, and some nights it can be heard faintly echoing through the catacombs. Much of what he plays is original, but I think his favorite piece of music is Bach's Canon of the...
What were his talents?
Music, first and foremost. He studied music as a child, and then later,
Where did he study art?
Okay, I'm
he
just
taught
gonna
himself. He was not a social
just gonna skip
person.
all of this.
What brought him to live?
He practiced his architectural knowledge.
And Garnier High.
Yes. He worked in private, so as not to frighten the other workers.
Alors, you...
Yes, I was in one of his first school classes.
Thank you for your time.
Adieu, monsieur.
So that's all that person has to say. Let's talk to this. Looks like he's got green hair.
Sure.
I keep trying
Who
to
are
click
you?
on the boxes. It doesn't work like that. Who are you?
My name is Edgar Degas. I am an art
What do you paint?
ballerinas. Young
Oh dear.
ballerinas. Lithe, supple, young.
I have not seen any ballerinas
Skip
around.
that. Don't need any more of that.
Oh, they're here, all right. One must only know where to look.
He's on the prowl. Oh dear.
You enjoy painting young females, monsieur?
Don't you?
Are you lost?
Well, can you direct me to the ballet studio? I'm working on what will undoubtedly
Oh, dear
be
me.
considered a masterpiece after I am dead.
Don't think we should tell him where it is.
I'm not sure where it is.
Should put his name on some kind of register, I think.
Oh. Well, I'll just wander until I find it.
In his long flashing Mac, obviously. How do you know you were respected before your death? Oh dear.
Ah, 'tis the way it always works, monsieur.
Oh, I
Artists
see.
of my day are never
Okay.
appreciated.
Oh.
The future?
Monsieur.
Mr.
The mysteries of the
Blah,
universe
blah,
are
blah,
not
blah,
ours
blah,
to
blah.
explain.
Yeah, we don't
Adieu.
wanna
Adieu.
have anything to do with him. Yeah. Go waddle off. Go waddle off and chase those ballerinas. Oh, the well, I guess there can't be any artifacts unless the Phantom's dead, because the artifacts were the Phantom's objects, weren't they? So I was expecting them to be there intact, but of course they wouldn't be. Let's talk to this guy. This guy does actually look quite different to his modern counterpart.
Ah, Raoul! Feeling better, I hope. You look much better. Tell me about Christine. What do you mean? Aren't you two...
Okay.
Well, haven't you two been seeing each other?
Yes, but she doesn't. Which shall we go for? The vicious Uber. So
That's a vicious rumor.
good and dramatic. This rumor.
And the way she kissed you earlier on stage, was that a rumor as well? My dear Raoul, you cannot fool me. I saw that look in your eyes when they opened and her face was the first thing you saw. If you are not in love, then I am a horse's ass. And you don't see me brushing flies away with my tail, do you? Now, what do you want to know about her?
Where does she come from?
The dialogue's quite amusing in this game. I don't know.
I
Some
knew
of
her
it's quite.
father before he died. He was a brilliant violinist with the orchestra. They emigrated here.
Compares to
from
the horrors of House of the Dead and
Scandinavia, I
things, the
believe.
terrible,
After her mother died,
terrible voice
she was
acting and
studying
dialogue
ballet
in
when
those
one
kind of
the
games.
directors heard her sing.
The Phantasmagoria 1 game.
What is her job
Oh,
here?
it's awful. Some of the dialogue and acting in it is
She was placed
absolutely
immediately into the
abysmal.
chorus. She has had two
In
minor
comparison,
parts
this
since
is
then. She
doing
has
pretty
never
well.
sung the lead.
Phantasmagoria
Is she
wouldn't
really
run
a
on a
good
machine
singer?
this early. I think that came out about around 96 on about 6 CDs. And
Yes, she is. I'm not sure if she could sustain a leading role.
so, as I say, this is
Young,
far
but
earlier, and I think
disciplined. But she
the
has
style
gotten better
works
and
much
better
better.
just over the last
The
few
writing's
weeks.
better.
It
The
is as if she
acting's
acquired an
better,
outstanding
and
teacher.
the
She improved
the concept
leaps and bounds
works.
in really
It's a
a
very
few
subtle game.
ways.
This Phantasmagoria is very violent and gory, as the title would imply, but the actual plot isn't remotely.
Will she sing the lead in The Wedding of Isabel?
It's so poorly thought out and so cliche.
Yes, I have agreed
It doesn't
to it.
really have any
Besides, Carlotta has mysteriously
atmosphere
gained a
to it,
throat
whereas
ailment.
this one's much
Otherwise, she
simpler
would have
and
thrown a fit.
slower paced. But the dialogue does kind of bring you into the world a little bit.
A
Whereas I say,
teacher?
Phantasmagoria
What do you mean?
by the time you get to the end, I was just thinking, God, I'm never going to play this rubbish again.
Practically daily, she comes in with some new technique.
Please update me on the Phantom's...
I have a new note from him.
A new
It
note.
is the same handwriting as the previous note.
What does the new note
We've got
say?
Options to say, what does the new note say, or options
He
to say,
wants
what does the
Christine
old
Day
note
to
say,
sing the
but
lead at the wedding of
we
Isabel
can't just ask
tonight,
about
not
what do all
Carlotta
these
the
notes say.
star.
It's
Here's the note on top
dragging
of the
it
desk.
out. Oh, okay. Oh, we're getting handed notes.
Miss Christine Day shall sing the lead in the wedding of Isabel, not that toad Carlotta. Please honor this request, or the tragedy that follows will be on your hands.
Hi there, it's All Plus. Very kind of you to join me. We're playing Return of the Phantom here, an old point-and-click adventure from the early 90s. This is the CD version, so we get the joys of 8-bit audio. That's an added bonus.
What does the old note say?
What does the old note say?
Told you about it last week. My head
Yeah.
bump on your head
The
was
the
really
plot of the game, as All Plus, is we've slipped into the past, so we're getting lots of
Reserve one of the best boxes for
time
you
travel
for every
jokes about. I
performance.
told you last week, don't you remember? Because
Here,
we've
treat it yourself.
we've
It's
taken
a
over the persona of one of our ancestors. You see, so that's why our main character doesn't know what's happened last week.
Shall be due the first of every month. Please give it
Bit
to
of
Madame
bribery.
Geary for placement in box,
Box
5.
5.
Shall remain unsold
That's the important one. That's the one with the
Failure
secret
to
trapdoor.
comply with this request shall result in great misfortune.
Which box
We
does
just
he
we just
reserve?
said box 5.
Box 5, it's one of the best ones, too. We could sell it every night if
Okay,
we
so we
wanted.
need to speak to this
We
Madame
never know when he
Geary.
will use
Geary.
it, so none of us had ever seen him. Madame Geary may have
Geary,
had some
okay.
communication with him, though.
Can I see box 5?
Of course, we're supposed to be in France. I don't really think any of these voice actors have got a French
We have
accent,
examined
but
it thoroughly, I assure you.
suppose that would
If
be
the
asking
phantom
too
does go
much.
there, it is by
That's quite funny. I like that.
Tell me about Madame Geary.
And so the dialogue's quite
She
good.
looks
Of
after
course,
the box.
with the original floppy
the one
disk
who
version,
finds the
you would
notes
have
that
only
go
had
to
the
leave
text.
for
You
us,
wouldn't have had the
usually in
audio,
box 5.
the
It is about
voices
time
to
for her
go with
report
it.
to
So
work, you may find her cleaning the boxes now.
a reasonably
Odd woman, I might add,
reasonably
but
well
she
written
does her
script
job.
would be important for a game like this.
Thank you, monsieur. I shall see you later.
Adieu, Raoul. You take it easy now, we...
Okay, so we've got notes and letters and all kinds of nonsense. So I'm. Oh, I thought we'd stuck up. I thought we'd jammed up then. I think that the original game, well, certainly the original game would have run partially from the hard drive and partially from the CD. I mean, I say certain because the size of hard drives back when this game came out, it was like 70 megabytes was probably, I think I had about 70 megabytes, which was relatively small, but it was enough. And as I say, the game has got 100 megabytes of audio, so they would have had to stream it from the CD because a lot of their users wouldn't have had hard drives big enough to store it. So hard drive space was just tiny back then. CDs were enormous, and even the CD games, they didn't install more than 30, often just sort of 10, 20 megabytes of data. But I think this one only needs 6 megabytes or something, maybe even less. We know.
Are you Madame Geary?
Sorry, I keep expecting it to proceed
Yes,
automatically.
I am
I guess.
caretaker of the boxes.
I think the only improvements they've made are the speech that go along with the text, and I'm kind of thinking that once the speech ends for one, it will start the next. But
personal box.
I think
He has used it ever since he first
because
began hunting
because
the
it's basically a non-speech text adventure that's been upgraded for the CD version, I think it's not got that automation. But unlike Dune
offers a
CD,
first
this
class
doesn't
view of
have
the
many
stage.
upgrades. It's just the
boxes
speech,
in this
which is a
area
very
are
nice
among the
upgrade.
best
But
seats in the house.
Dune CD had loads of videos added to it as well.
And you have never seen him enter or exit?
Never. It is a mystery, but he uses it.
How do you think he gets...
He's a ghost.
He's got a trap.
should
He's got
I
a
know?
secret door. We've already established there's a secret door. I believe you're
Madame
hiding
Geary,
something.
I believe you are hiding something.
And I believe you are hiding something, monsieur.
Oh yeah,
I believe you are not what you seem.
she knows that we're from
What
the
do you
future.
mean by
'Cause she's
I'm
psychic and
not
stuff.
what I seem?
Monsieur, you are from another time.
Another time,
place.
and well,
You do not know how you
technically
got
we're
here,
not
and
from
neither
another
do I.
place because we were
But
still in the
destiny
exact
is
same
leading
place.
into a
But
dangerous
anyway.
cataclysm. I believe you have good intentions,
okay.
but I must warn you that your adversary.
Tell me more about what you see.
Your soul is under the control of forces beyond our understanding. You will return to
Okay,
your
so
own time
it is
and
actually
place
giving away the
when
end that we do
unfolding
in,
play
back in
is
the present day.
completely enacted.
And what is it that must be...
I do not know, monsieur. I do not know.
What are these...
Look for 3 items
Yeah.
from your own time.
These are the coloured gels that we've been picking up. Apparently, I was reading the sort of walkthrough, and apparently if we'd selected the challenging option at the start, we needed 4, but we only need 3 in this
I
one.
can unlock
Although I
box
think I've actually
5
got all
for you,
4.
But I
wasn't
cannot
hard
do
to
that
find them.
until you have more control over your destiny.
Okay.
Find
blah,
the
blah, blah.
items, and I will
Madame Geary, you know...
The columns in these boxes are not what they seem.
When did he first begin haunting?
It was really since it opened in 1875. I started working here in 1879. He has always been here to my knowledge.
Tell me more about his work.
He used the time and space to build his own domain deep below the theater. I believe he may have...
What kind of traps?
He gained much knowledge of diabolical traps and puzzles while he lived in Persia.
Yeah.
I have heard tales of a puzzle.
There's an
with
alphabetic puzzle, and I believe
correspond
that
with
the answer is
26
his
letters of
name,
our
just
alphabet.
E-R-I-K.
I know nothing more.
The puzzles are.
Do you know the key
There's
to
like a
these puzzles?
sliding square puzzle or something, and there's a.
I
there's
believe
that
the
one.
key lies in the fact that something to do with his attire.
Or is
or
they've
his
even
name,
told you.
Eric.
It's his name. Yeah, there we go. Maybe the
I
challenging
understand
version
you have
doesn't make that
dealings
as
with
obvious.
Opera ghost.
Yes, that is correct. Mind you, I have never...
What kind of written message?
He has left messages to the manager requesting this or that. He once left me a nice note of...
Does he tip you?
He tips me very well. Better than most of the gentlemen.
So the opera ghost is blackmailing the opera for money and then giving the money to this lady who works for the opera. You'd have thought they'd be a bit angry about that.
Monetary interest in protecting
Oh,
him.
there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Monsieur, I resent your inference. I am a working-class woman trying...
Surely you have seen some.
Once, I peeked into the box during a performance. I saw the silhouette of a man sitting there.
Adieu, Madame Geary.
Adieu, monsieur. Oh my, why did I not see before? You already have the items from your own time.
Yeah, quite.
My apologies, monsieur. You
Been working
are
hard,
one step ahead of
clicking
me.
on objects.
Stay that way, and you will be one step ahead of him as well.
Now, I remember from a long, long time ago, when I played this last time, probably about 3 decades ago or something. If we look here, that's where the... there you go. So we can see the door, but we can't open it without the key. I apologise. Return of the Phantom, Azul Plus. This is sort of old DOS game from the 386 days. If you look on the web, you can find it on the some abandonware websites. This is the CD-ROM version, which has the speech. I would certainly suggest that version. There's no benefit to the non-CD version, so try and get the CD version. So I actually owned this game as a child, so one of my friends was a big fan of it, and he sort of introduced me to it, and I thought it's one of the games that I remember from the CD days of being of the 386 CD games being quite impressive, and I thought it was a little bit odd, you know. No point playing Wolfenstein 3D for everyone because everyone knows that, but this is a bit different, but worth if you've not seen it before, worth looking at. And it's a good excuse for me to play it again. It's one that I do have fond memories of, and as you can see, it takes a lot of time to play. So I thought I'd do a live stream, have a bit of fun with it, see if other people are interested in it. Oh, do we have any more to talk to
Hello
about?
again, mate.
Bonjour, miss. I have delivered to you all
Okay.
the information
we're
you
done.
need. I have nothing more to say.
Let's have a look at my
Fate
walkthrough and
and
see what it
destiny
suggests
are
we
on
do
your
next.
side. Good luck, monsieur.
Okay, so we need to go all the way to the dancers and talk to Christine. Thousands and thousands of miles away, walking very slowly. I meant to give that a name, but I was too excited with my clicking. No matter. This scene, it's nicely drawn, but it feels a little bit confusing. The blue, those blue sort of parts don't really make much sense to me. I would have preferred it if they'd kept a more single colour for that one. It just seems a bit chaotic. This one's very nice. And of course, before at the start of the game in the present day, we had the chandelier smashed here, so it's a reuse of a scene here. I'm sure they've done some kind of compression there. Probably sliced the image up into parts so they can save some of the floppy disk. Because as I say, the original game I think came on just three floppy disks. So about 5 megabytes of total hard drive space, I think. So pretty small. When you're doing these long scrolling 256 color images and the odd animation, there are a few, not many, but there are a few little animations in this game. During the introduction you saw a few that looked like they were video captured, and later on we'll see a short performance of an opera, and in that as well there is there's a few frames of animation of a character of an actress dancing and things, which is again it's not much these days, but back in the 386 days. Oh, okay. Getting a clue there. They've done a good job with this CD version. I guess maybe they came out at the same time. I never knew there was a CD version. The friend I had, he only had the floppy disk version, and it was later on I came across the CD. Oh, okay. Maniac Mansion. I've got Maniac Mansion. I've gone the wrong way. I didn't mean to go up here. Maniac Mansion I've got for the Famicom, but it's all in Japanese, and it's a little bit difficult for me to play it. I can read Japanese, but I struggle with the katakana of the NES because it's quite chunky and difficult, not very legible. But yeah, I'm not massively into them. I mean, the only ones I ever really played that I can remember now would be this and Leisure Suit Larry. But I never really got into them. But I say this one, I've got a lot of time for this one. I wouldn't really describe myself as a point-and-click adventurer, but this one, and you maybe wouldn't call them point-and-click so much. The more modern ones like Scratches and things, the horror ones, because I do like the horror type ones, and that's part of the reason I like this one. Is it's just got a slight. It's not a proper horror game, but it's got a slight sort of eerie theme to it, and the time travel and things. But Zolplus, if you've got any ideas for other games of a similar style to this, that are, sort of early 90s games that you think I might like, please suggest them, and I'll take a look. Okay. I don't know if we can get in either of these this time. I don't think the young ballerina appears in the past, which is probably for the best with that dodgy painter walking around looking to paint ladies. So I think she was in the present. I think in the present day she was just a foreshadowing of the Madame Geary lady, because she was like the granddaughter or something. So I don't think she has a part herself in this time zone. It's a very satisfactory game. I'm not aware there's ever any issues with it. I mean, some of these games are prone to locking up, or items don't appear or things. This one seems very stable, and apart from the scene earlier where I'd not completed the conversation with someone and then you had to go back and you wasted a bit of time. Apart from the very rare case like that, I don't think there's any times where it really gets stupid that you end up stuck and don't know why and wander around for hours on end. It's one that I think I certainly won it originally without a cheat or without any help from anyone, and
what good timing
it's perfectly
you have.
viable to
Why
do
don't
that.
you sit down, mon ami?
Okay, so more time travel jokes here.
How long have you known me?
Oh, you're going to get in trouble asking that.
We knew each other as children. You know that. We met again just last year here at the opera. You've been so kind to...
How is your career going?
Have you heard? Carlotta has a sore throat and will not be going on tonight. I will be singing the...
Remind me of our exploit.
Don't you remember? You jumped into the ocean to retrieve
Well, considering wasn't the opera owner saying they were in a relationship? This all sounds a bit
Tell me about your father.
a bit passive
He
here.
was a brilliant violinist. He taught me so much about music. He told the most wonderful stories. You used to listen.
Have you had any
So
strange
I've learned from my
dreams?
previous mistake that we're going to have to exhaust all of the conversation with any character we
Why,
come across,
what
just
do
in
you
case one of the pieces of conversation is an unlock for the later plot.
Any dreams about men wearing masks?
How did you know?
Tell me about your dreams.
There is a man with a mask. He sings to me, much like the angel of music. I'm riding a white horse, and he is leading the horse. We go to a dark place. And
Oh,
there,
I was going to get jealous
where we
of the
met.
dream. Did you ever unmask
Did
him?
you ever unmask him?
I'm too frightened to do so.
Is this
And
the
the
exact
strange
same
thing
conversation from the present
That
day?
even though I am frightened, there is something comforting about the man.
Sounds romantic.
Doesn't sound remotely romantic. Sounds
Why,
fucking
Raoul,
terrifying.
you sound jealous.
Oh, there we go.
It's just a
he is
dream,
jealous.
after all.
Where have you been?
Where have you been?
I went to my father's grave. You know, I visit it every day.
Tell me more about the ancient.
He comes to me when I practice. He's my teacher.
But who is he?
I don't expect you to believe me, Raoul, but he really is an angel. My father always told me that if he should die, he would send an angel.
What does he look like?
I have never seen him. I only hear him. He sings
So,
and
I mean,
speaks to me
this
here
giant
in this
full-height
room.
mirror here should be
His
quite
voice seems
suspicious
to
at
come
this
from
point.
the walls themselves.
Comes through the walls, and there's like the giant mirror that looks very
When do
much
you
like a
expect
door.
him again?
Can't imagine what's going to happen here.
Soon. In a few minutes. I must ask
oh,
you
we're
to
being
leave
chucked
in a
out.
moment. You will not
She's,
come if someone else had come here, my love.
Gonna have her affair with the ghost in the mirror. Oh, so here it's come here, my love, hold me a moment. But a few seconds ago, it was like, oh, don't you remember our childhood? It seems a bit seems to be changing her tune quite a bit. I would have expected a bit more.
Shouldn't I stay with you during your
I
practice?
would have expected her to be a bit more upset that he seems to have completely forgotten everything about them ever having met
No.
before a moment ago.
No one can be here then.
Are you sure you're...
Why, I was never better. I love you, Raoul.
Yeah, slightly
not
inconsistent
forget.
dialogue.
We shall see what happens after the opera if I...
And I would lose you forever?
Nonsense. Oh. The Angel of Music is here.
I hear it.
Please, go now. I cannot speak anymore, please.
I think the door's going to shut behind. There we go.
Angel of Music?
Yes, Christine,
Yes, Angel.
come to me, Christine. You will love me always. You are mine forever.
Yeah, I don't know. As I say, I think generally the dialogue in this is pretty good, but as I say, that just seemed a little bit odd there. But now the Phantom, I think this
Open
is
the door,
I think
Christopher.
this is where he's going to smash his way in.
You shall be mine forever.
He's getting
Must get
jealous.
inside.
What are you doing with this Phantom? Let's get this old fire axe and smash our way in. Wow. I can't remember what happens at the end because, as I say, the plot is that sort of Raoul and this lady are in a relationship, and then the present day woman's ancestor we've already met, and I don't know if it's like, oh well, then they live, oh we live happily ever after, and then he wakes up, because that would be a bit of an anticlimax, wouldn't it? So I don't know if I don't know what happens. Okay, actually check my guide. Let's see what we do now. It doesn't really say what I do now. I don't think there's any... Oh, okay. Oh, that's why.
Where could she be? Doesn't she know she must go on in less than 15 minutes? What could have happened to her?
I fear she may be in...
I hope not. For her sake. For our sake. Christine, you have returned. Are you all right?
Of course, Monsieur Richard.
But where have you been? We have all been so worried. The performance is set to begin in 10 minutes.
I would never let you down, Monsieur. I am a professional.
Ah, okay.
Raoul,
So
I
we're
have
going to
left
get to
for
see
you a
the
complimentary
we're going to
box
get to
seat
see the
ticket at
performance
box
here.
office. Please pick it up.
I mean,
I
to
must
be
run
honest,
to my
this
dressing
game
room
isn't
now. Adieu.
admittedly, I'm using a walkthrough to agree here, but this game isn't going to be that long. I mean, maybe we could complete it all today.
Well, I'll be. Why, I'm astounded. I must say it's a good thing we returned.
Skip this
Christine's
through this a
return.
bit
I
quicker.
should say so. Well, you better pick up your ticket, and I will see you later. Adieu.
So now we need to go to the box office. The only time we do this in the entire game. They've paid some artists to draw this entire scene, and it's only used once. So better go and enjoy their artwork. And this is we saw this scene. Oh, okay. Oh, nice bit of layering there. Quite nice. We did see the box office close up during the
May I help you, monsieur?
Do you have a ticket for Raoul de...
Oui, monsieur. Here it is. Miss Day left it just a few moments ago.
and that's the sole purpose of this entire room, I believe.
I am in danger. Please meet me backstage after the performance tonight.
I don't think we will. I don't think we will at all. So what ticket have we got? Because we need to go to one of the boxes. Box 9. So 5 was the Phantom's box, of course. Let me know what people who are watching think of this. Are you finding this stream too boring? Is it you're doing other things and you just want something on in the background? Because I mean, say for me, it's kind of like this is a little bit slower than I'd like the stream to be. But as I say, it's like a game like this. There's not really any faster way of doing it unless you pre-record it and start chopping it up. And I simply wouldn't have time to do that. So say, I think there's a possibility we'll be able to win this game in an hour or two.
Yes?
Very good, monsieur. Box 9. I shall unlock the door. Enjoy the performance, monsieur.
Just reading the catacomb bit, the one ridiculously difficult bit of this game, most of the game is impossible to lose, but the catacombs, there's this huge maze, and I'm not aware of any way that you're supposed to know how to solve it. You just end up wandering around for hours, so it seems a very, I say, for a game that is so comfortable and easy, you know, just with a little bit of patience most of the time, that's a bit where you just end up just clicking on directions until you somehow get out, in my experience. So here we go, we got a little bit of animation here. Oh, I thought we saw that closer up. I obviously forgot. So there we go. So she's been kidnapped. 1 hour later again. So it wasn't quite clear from that, but she's disappeared from the trap through the trapdoor.
The scenery has been struck. We can investigate this more thoroughly without a panic-stricken audience on our hands.
Has backstage been thoroughly...
Only perfunctorily. The stage manager sent everyone home. You might want to take a look yourself.
Perfunctorily. That's not a word I'm familiar
They
with.
obviously went through the trapdoor.
Teaching me some English here.
Yes, it was no magic trick. I wonder what Jacques has to say. Why, I have not...
What should I do now, Monsieur Rich?
I fear for Christine's life. That monster is capable of anything. Good luck, Raoul. Adieu.
Okay, so we can't do that yet. I think we need to go to the trapdoor room, and I think we're going to get the key for this for that door from there, and from then we can go and get our bird back from the old phantom. He's stealing our lady. Yeah. So I don't know, something about it's a nice drawing, but it just feels too busy to appreciate it really. But the artwork's all very good in this game. You've got this nice perspective of all the angles of all the different seats here. They could have just a lesser game might have just repeated a few tiles or something, but as I say, this one I don't think there's any repetition in there at all. Which again, you're going to be using up the old disk space on a floppy disk game. Oh! Some harsh MIDI music there. A key with a skull on it. Oh, skeleton key. Aha. Is he dead? Are we gonna try and resuscitate him, or are we just gonna give him up as a bad... Oh, his neck's broken. Okay, well, that answers that question then. Let's save our game here. Just doing that just in case. I think I can now go and open that door in the box, but if not, then I'm going to have to go and try and hunt around over backstage and things. So just so we don't have to wander all this way a second time. Move on. So he's had someone murdered in the present day. He's been thrown over a ledge, knocked out, woken up in the past. His girlfriend's been kidnapped and another person's been murdered, and he's still casually walking around as if I don't want to break out in a sweat or anything. Let's just walk slowly. No, take your time. I think he should maybe be speeding things up a little bit. The panel is now unlocked. Well, go on in. Get in there. So now the top one will lead us to the area above the stage, and the bottom one I think is the catacombs. I don't know if the geometry of that works, because how the areas of the map I don't think would work perspective wise or something, but anyway. So again, very nice. Yeah, okay. It looks a bit like a pyramid. I don't know why the old Phantom lives in a pyramid. And also, that ladder was very short. You'd have thought the opera would have noticed this huge area so close to the so close to them. Okay, so here we go. So we've got, according to my chart, we've got to go east. Come on, get the lead out. North. East. North. All these loading times as well. North. Someone did a lot of work on these catacombs, but there's very little. It's just a maze. It's not. There's no event that ever occurs in here. It's not. I mean, it reminds me of the UK TV series Nightmare or something. That is the artwork very nicely drawn, but just doesn't do anything. North. West. Hope I'm doing this right. West. Let's just do a save. North. And then we do east 5 times. 1. 2. 3. Right, yeah, that's quite cute. 3. 4. 5. And now hopefully, if I've done it right, we just go north and then we're out of here. We can only hope. I don't think there's any visual clues, and I'm not aware that there's... Oh. I nearly screwed up there. Get that sword. There's a sword fight, so we won't do very well in a sword fight if we don't pick up the sword. Okay. I was wondering what the grate did, but if I remember correctly, poison gas comes out of it if we do this combination lock one. A, B, C, D, E. F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, F, G, H, I, J, K. There we go. So that was given away to us by the earlier conversation. So, and then we give this old spider web a big whacking. Yeah, teach a lesson. Another nicely drawn background here. I can't remember what exactly is inside the lair. There's like some kind of sarcophagus that the lady's stuck in, but I can't. There's some other weird stuff I can't remember now. Okay. Oh god, it's a sliding square puzzle. No, quickly save. So this needs to look like the Phantom Mask. I thought it was a sliding square puzzle, but it just seems to be we just have to push it until it shows what it should show, and it should just show the Phantom Mask, so it shouldn't be too difficult. The floors are catching fire as we've established. Not sure. One of the options seems to be like a piano key, and then I'm not sure what the other one is. It's like a cross swords or something. Oh, okay. Oh. was worth doing. It was a bit dramatic. Oh, well, it's kind enough to save our game here. So if we attach the rope. I wonder if it's made the puzzle any easier for us a second time. Yes, the floor's getting hot. Oh. Yeah. Shut up. Nearly there. Come on, get out there. Now, call me a cynic, but are you telling me the Phantom has to do that every time he wants to get through his front door? Because it seems a little bit ineffective. It seemed very convenient. Okay. I think I'm going to do another save, I think.
Christine,
Raoul! Yes, it is I! Oh, help me!
the door is locked.
Raoul, don't leave me here! Please! The lock is somehow controlled by the organ!
Gotta get our hands on the Phantom's organ. Oh dear. Oh god, I should have paid more attention earlier. Hang on a minute, let me check me walkthrough. Play the piece that was mentioned earlier. Okay, I think it actually changes every time we play the game. I think it's either that one or that one. Might have selected the wrong one. Oh, it just lets it. It's been very kind to us with these instant restarts from the position we just died. Okay. Okay, I have no idea which one it was then. I completely failed on that one. Death by... Yeah, it certainly likes his death by fire, but if you did the first one wrong, you got gassed. The Eric one where you had to push the little skulls, that would actually gas you. So it's not all fire. And I seem to remember that... Oh, there we go. I got it that time. This weird chair here, that somehow teleports you, I think, at some point. Which is a bit... I mean, the idea is that he's got no magic and it's just like he's clever at making machines. So quite how he's managed to make a telepod seems a bit dubious, but we'll go with it. So... forgotten all about this one.
Help me, I'm in here!
Sorry, just muting the mic there while I was coughing.
Christine? My lord, Christine,
What is this, some kind of coughing?
Coffin? I'll find a way to get you out. Don't worry, darling.
So, I think one of these does it. Oh. Now do I have to push the skulls?
Raoul!
What has happened to you?
It is all clear to me now. The angel of music was Eric, the opera
Oh, there we go.
He
I
spoke
knew
to
the
me.
bit was a
I knew
fake.
there was a...
You are right. It opens, but only he can do it. There is a secret passage from my dressing room down to the catacombs. He assured me that
How'd he put you...
it was with music. His voice, a violin. I was convinced.
What happened after you followed him here?
He placed me on a boat and he rowed here. At first, he was unusually kind. Almost.
No.
He gave me this ring. He declared that I was now his bride. Here, you take it. I don't want it. It was shortly after this that I was able to...
What did he look like?
He is death personified. The poor...
How did you unmask him?
He was playing the organ. I slowly crept behind him and grabbed
I think the ring
But he didn't
is
hurt you?
one of the artifacts that was in the library. I think it's that's the
No.
kind of ponies we're
became
collecting, the
like a
artifacts that
pathetic
in the
little
future end
child.
up in the library.
He cried that now I would never love him. So, I tricked.
How did you trick him?
I told him I would love him because he was so
Telling
kind
lies,
and had
it's
taught
not
me
good.
his music.
But apparently it did...
Eric must have known you and I were going to meet after the opera.
Where is the Phantom now?
He said he was going to get us some food.
No time to talk, love.
You are right. Make haste. I shall follow you.
Let's get out of here. Oh, let's see the casual walking in moments of peril isn't just limited to me. You know, she's been drugged, kidnapped, and taken down here and locked in a giant sarcophagus of blood and corpses, and she's just casually walking around. No reason for any concern at this point.
Raoul, it's him!
You! How dare you trespass here?
I demand you let us go.
I demand that you let us go.
Christine is my bride forever. She can never leave. As for you, I shall send you to your maker.
On guard. if he doesn't move a bit faster during this sword fight, he ain't going to win it. Oh, there we go. Well, I mean, he's fighting a guy who's got a stick and he's got a sword. I suppose he's in with a chance. Oh, there we go. There's the teleporting.
What happened to him?
Who cares? Let's run.
I couldn't agree more. Take the score from the organ. It may be useful.
I couldn't agree more, but first, let's grab a few random bits of paperwork. Let's go to the old door here. Another nice background. We only see it once. This is the only time we'll see it, so you know, enjoy it. Even got some nice animation going on here. Yeah, so all these backgrounds are very detailed and very unique. You know, there's no reuse that I'm aware of you know, parts of the floor or parts of the roof or anything. But we'll only get used to this once, and this one all we achieve here is we get an ore and then we use it in the immediate next scene. So it's not like some major scene or anything. Now this gondola's appeared, so let's get in this thing and use our ore. We get a kind of cutscene. Okay, we've very nearly finished this game. It's worked really well, actually. I thought I'd only get about halfway through or a third of the way in or something. It's going much faster than I thought it did. The difference between playing these games without the... Oh. They've not done any... It's a shame they've not done any audio for this part. Thinking about it, that might be a performance issue because we've got some parallax scrolling here and layering, and it might be that there's just not enough CPU power on an old 386 to do the speech at the same time with all this action, because it's very different doing a bit of speech when there's just some text on screen and when you're doing how many layers here? It's like foreground and middle, at least 2 layers, and of course the sprites rowing across. But anyway, as I say, another nice scene in this game that really is just it's no need for it, so to speak. It's just a nice touch to add to the game that adds a bit of feeling to it. You know, makes it all feel very very authentic and creepy. And we're back at this scene here with the pyramid that entered the catacombs, and fortunately we never need to enter those catacombs ever again because I don't want to get lost again. Now, I believe from my my walkthrough, if we go to the top of this if we go to the top here, we end up fighting on the chandelier, and then that's the end of the game, I think. I guess that's why there's the third exit to there, just to speed the game along, because they needed it to end on the chandelier. Oh. Oh. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've done this wrong. Seems to be saying we need to leave here and then go back in and then leave at the top. Oh, I see. Okay. Doing more of this stealing of my lady. That's not very good. We're going to have to give him another beating. We've already beaten him once. And I do remember the ending. The final battle has a nice little bit of animation and nice graphics. Again, nothing remotely impressive for today, but back in the 386 days, you know, a nice animation or a graphic and things, you know, it was really quite remarkable just because of the machines had such limited amounts of disk space. You couldn't do very much back then on a floppy disk based game. I did the Seventh Guest a brief play of the Seventh Guest on a previous one, and of course that was when CDs with large amounts of video really came in. But before that, as I say, this was a floppy disk game that was upgraded to CD. It wasn't really wasn't a CD game first and foremost. So here we are. We're now.
Stay back, fool!
No!
Unhand her, fiend!
You get your sword out.
Take to her. Prepare to die, Phantom!
Ha! On guard. So, bit of a load there, getting some more graphics in memory. So now we have to push the old cane. And then, there we get the upper hand. Give him a beating. Another disc load, I think, there. And if we take the mask... Ah, the horror! It's got like a Terminator eye going on there.
Both die!
What that's about. Now you've seen my face, we'll both die. And the chandelier falls again. Back to where we started. And we wake back up in the present day, of course. So we've rescued our love, and then she's aged 100 years and died, obviously.
Monsieur Montfort! Oh, look! Monsieur Brie, his eyes are opening.
And it was all a dream.
Dieu merci.
Who am I? Who are you? What year is this? Go away and let me sleep.
What year is this?
What year?
What year? It's 1993, so that must be the year the game came out, I guess. I couldn't remember it. I knew it was early 90s, but I thought it was maybe a little earlier than that.
Where am...
You are in the Opera Library.
Who are you?
Why, I am Christine Florent. We met earlier.
Go away.
We will. But first, we must make sure you are all right.
She's not taking no for an answer.
Christine Florent.
What? No, monsieur, my body is quite warm.
But you...
The Phantom?
I realize that
Yeah,
many of my boyfriends
the
don't
artifacts are
come
back in
around
here,
anymore.
and
But I
one will be
wouldn't
the
call it
ring,
the
and one will be the manuscript that we took, and then the other I think is the mask, and maybe the cane or something.
You must be
Christine Day?
She was the Phantom of the Opera's object of desire. A singer with the opera. 100 years ago.
100 years
You
ago.
must rest, Raoul.
Please do, Christine.
Take care. I'll be back.
I didn't fall.
The Phantom, eh? My dear boy, we haven't had a Phantom here in over 100 years.
You haven't had any...
No.
So yeah, the present has all changed because we changed the past.
You are imagining things.
It's like
Raoul.
Kyle Reese, I guess.
You rest until the doctor comes.
But he was here. I have...
My dear Raoul, you are mistaken. Those items have
Yeah,
been
there we
locked in
go.
that glass case for a century. Look.
Who caused the chandelier?
Caused
What chandelier tragedy?
The chandelier fell.
My dear boy, that bump on the head really has
Well-
done a number on you.
If we're there investigating the chandelier tragedy and there's no chandelier tragedy, why were we there messing around up on top of the catwalk then? We're missing something.
Go away and leave.
Very well. You rest.
You tell him.
Christine will be back with the doctor soon.
So let's have a look at. I think the game ends. Oh, okay, we're going for the book. We're going for the book. Okay, so we killed the Phantom and we killed ourselves in the process. Oh well. Nice little animation there at the end. Bit of lightning. And I think that's it. I don't think there's any more end sequence to the game. I think we've seen everything there is. So I'll just wait until 246. Fight for Prince. I got star player. I don't know what. Oh, we get a final graphic and a scrolling credit. Well, we'll let the scrolling credit run because I'm sure the programmers have earned their appearance on here. So yeah, I say I thoroughly enjoy this one. I like the styling. The part set in the 1900s had a nice feel to it. The opera house is wonderfully drawn. The Phantom character is it's not a sort of story I was familiar with before I came across this game, or I've ever sort of been familiar with since. But as I say, I always find this game quite enjoyable all round. Like the story seems quite nice. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it, Killtech. As I say, it's one I'd sort of recommend to people if you like this style of old game. Think it probably deserves more attention than it maybe gets. I don't know if it got a lot. I don't know how it sort of fared in the day. I don't know if it was a financial success or a failure. As I say, my friend was a fan of the Phantom of the Opera, so he probably pretty much hunted it out, and for all I knew, he even bought a PC just to play it. It's possible, but from the point of view of, it was rotoscope modelled. Okay, well, that's interesting to know. So I was a bit unclear whether it was whether they'd drawn the characters or whether they had done the rotoscoping, but they have. So that's interesting to know. But yeah, very nice little game all round. So we're going to play a bit of Dune. We're not going to play very much. We've been going 3 hours nearly. So I think we'll probably play about. Let's play for about half an hour, and then what I'll do is I'll play a little bit of Super Space Invaders to finish off, because I promised, and we'll come back to Dune properly another day, because I maybe if I read up on the playthrough a bit better, and we're lucky, maybe I can do a full playthrough of Dune like I've done with Phantom of the Opera here. So we'll just do a very quick introduction to Dune today, and then we'll have a playthrough of Super Space Invaders, because I only wanted to mention that briefly as one that impressed me back in the day. So again, I think we'll turn this into a Phantom of the Opera main thing, because which it kind of was intended to be. But when I got my CD drive, I bought a few cheap games, and Seventh Guest certainly impressed me, but it didn't run so well on the 386-16, so I always felt of that more as a sort of Pentium game, or at least a 486 game. But as I say, this ran great on the 386, the CD version, and Dune was incredible on the CD, on the 386, because what Dune was doing on the CD system on the 386 really was pushing the 386 to the absolute limit, and you didn't see better done by even quite significantly superior systems for quite a while, really. And we'll discuss that when we see the game. But yeah. So yeah, very nice game. Like I say, it came out of floppy and CD, and the game, with the exception of the audio, the speech, the floppy disk version was exactly the same as we've just seen. So a very long set of credits here. I'm sure they've had to get lots of special licenses and permission to use the locations and the names of the opera house and things. So you wonder if they you wonder if some of the backgrounds as well were based on some kind of actual location. I have no idea, but it would certainly make drawing all of those backgrounds a lot easier if they were. This is a work of fiction. I'm amazed. I thought the Phantom was real. Now my beliefs are shattered. Oh, except for the painter, who was a real painter, but he may not have been a perverted old lech. But we're going to imply he was, so whatever. Well, fair enough. That character never did anything in the game, did he? So did they just put him in to make him out to be a pervo? Maybe they did. Anyway, nice backgrounds all round. Some nice dialogue. CD version was a reasonable improvement, and you can just see this once again spinning in. Now, those animations did slow down a little bit on my 386. I'm running it slightly faster. My 386-16 would have struggled with that, but I think I'm probably running at a speed more around 33 megahertz here, something like that. So it just runs a little bit smoother here. So anyway, let's leave that one and let's go over to June. Oh, hang on a minute. So here we go, this is June CD. Now, as I say, I got the Amiga version of this, but I don't think... I was getting confused earlier. I don't think I actually ever played the non-CD version of this. But this is quite impressive anyway. So you got a nice little video animation there. Then you've got this quite nice video animation here as well. And this is just a credit for the manufacturers, of course. This isn't related to June as such. It's quite nice. And then, come on. I don't know what else Cryo did, so this is impressive. Here you go. Now, you're probably wondering why there's all these dots on the screen here. This is a clip from the movie, of course.
A beginning is a very delicate
But the thing you've got to bear in mind is that the VGA system had limits to how fast it could draw onto the screen, let alone the fact that the CD-ROM drive was only 160k a second, and the 386 had no CPU power. This was literally the best they could do on a 386-16. It worked very well though. And I mean, I'm talking over you, I apologise, but the Leisure Suit Larry, the DOS version that came many years later than this, 96, and the 11th Hour, which came around 95, I think, and I think even June 2000 was still only interlaced. They still couldn't fill the entire screen, fill every single line of the image because of speed and issues. So, as I say, this was a very respectful very respectable attempt at some seriously impressive video for a machine that really was horrendously underpowered to do it. The image is kind of getting distorted a little bit here on my because of the upscaling here. I've skipped it. I apologise for that. I was going to try and improve the scaling, but I've ended up skipping it. It was nearly ended anyway. But that was the end of the CD introduction, and now we're on to the I think we've missed the introduction, the June CD introduction. It's a shame. There's a second introduction. that is the floppy disk version, but I think we've skipped that as well, unfortunately. Oh no, here it is.
In these times of the future, man has explored many worlds, traveling through space.
So, suffice to say, floppy disk wouldn't have had any speech, I don't think. I would be surprised if it had this much. It's not impossible. June 2 did, but I kind of suspected it.
Only on one planet in the whole
and we got a nice rotating animation there, which
planet is Arrakis,
I would guess is the CD version only as well.
It's a dry, desolate planet with vast deserts. There's never a drop of rain on Dune. You are Paul Atreides, son
Looks
of
like he's
Duke
chewing on a
Leto
wasp, I have
Atreides.
to say. He doesn't look very happy there. And his eyes kind of look left and right.
The Harkonnens, long-time
you
enemies
watching
of
me?
your
I know.
family,
A bit
have come on
uncomfortable.
Dune to control the spice production in their brutal way.
What's going on with that guy's hair? He's got strange hair.
But the Emperor of the Universe.
Yeah,
has
Azul Plus, yes, certainly a lot of people. Yeah, but
go on
yeah, that's the way. Even these old games, you know, they took a lot of developers.
You are determined to use this opportunity to drive the Harkonnens out of Dune with the help of the few natives, the Fremen.
Okay.
The story begins as you've just arrived on Dune. In an empty
So,
palace.
I mean, I'd
located at a safe
seen the film before I played this, I think. Yeah, I had, yeah. And I mean, the plot's kind of similar, but some of the characters look very, very different, and it makes it a bit jarring, you know. I have read the book as well. Not when I'd played this originally, but I have since. I've read it I think twice. But it's a long time ago now. We did miss another introduction. That's a shame. There was a really nice introduction that we missed. But as I say, we'll play this again another time when I've got more time to play it as the sort of sole entry to the video. Whereas this time, as I say, we spent already nearly 3 hours on Phantom.
My son, we must mine the spice as soon as possible.
Now I'm just going to change some settings here because we can turn subtitles on. Or balloons. There can't seriously be two different options. And they got Fremen, which I think just changed the font. But,
My son,
Oh,
we
okay.
must mine the spice as soon as possible, or the Emperor will recall us from Dune. We've spotted 3 troops of Fremen around the palace.
The thing that really impressed me about this part of the game is, I mean, the speech is good, but the lip syncing is pretty impressive. I mean, there were games coming out years and years later. I will collect all that spice. I'll be doing my best to collect all that spice. But the lip syncing, you were seeing games come out on much in 3D, you know, around 2000, where the mouth was just going, and with no attempt at lip syncing. And this was really doing it, and it was doing it on a machine with no processing power. I don't know how they were doing it. I can't believe someone actually sat there and like programmed all the timings manually. So maybe it was some kind of audio. They programmed it to understand the audio and what kind of letters were being pronounced or something. But as I say,
We've
very,
spotted
very
3 troops of Fremen around the palace, and I've sent Gurney Halleck to meet them. He's not returned yet. Go there and see what's keeping Gurney.
It's very good. I mean, say it's a nice attempt. It looks really good, certainly for the time. So we need to go and talk to our Gurney.
Jessica.
Just in case you'd forgotten who I was. I am. I'm your mother.
Go outside.
Okay, so
take
she's
an
giving
order
us a clue.
and fly there. Hurry up, my son. I sense danger.
So we take this old Ornate. So these are the mode of travel on Dune. This is the other seriously impressive thing, is these video animations. These look really good. I mean, they looked good back then, and they still look pretty good now. So I could watch these for a while. You get to see them quite a lot, and later on you get to ride worms, and I think you see the same or similar ones as well. They can't be the same actually, because you're in the air, aren't you? But I say, very nice work, and near full screen video on a 386. We can skip it. We'll watch all of it this time. I think there's a few different versions, and they do colour changes as the time of day changes as well. So this game's running in standard VGA mode, which means 256 colours. You can see that there's some colour with artifacts on the screen just because of there's not quite the palette to blend smoothly, but it's really good. And now we're about to land, I think. I think we get a proper landing animation as well. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there we do. So, very nice bit of artwork there.
I can feel something.
Okay, I went to the wrong one, obviously. So let's get him back in our Ornate.
Select destination on map. Kartag, Haarg.
We'll just skip there this time. The video's the same each time. Well, give or take, it might be slightly different.
We've heard of you. You are the son of the Atreides Duke, and of Jessica, the...
Could he be the one? I don't know what the colouring means. I don't know why they're wearing such bright green. Okay, so clearly I need to pay more attention next time to where I'm being told to go, because I thought it was the middle one. So
I'm Gurney Halleck. I've served
here.
the Atreides for a long
Wasn't
time.
this this one was played by Patrick Stewart, wasn't it, in the film? Is this the character who's playing? There's often rumours they're going to make another film of Dune. I don't know if it's really true or not. Certainly, I'd certainly like to see it, but
We saw you coming from the other siege.
Yes, I agree to let my troops work for you. We are awaiting your orders.
Here are the characteristics of my troop.
So this game, I mean, it's weird because when I originally started playing it the first time in the 90s, I thought this was going to be a role-playing game or point-and-click adventure type game, but then it turns into this turn-based strategy. So I think we need to.
Used to spice mining.
Okay.
We'll try to learn.
Get on with. Get me some spice. So.
You notice, all the Fremen we meet have blue eyes. Totally blue.
I think we have to get enough spice for the Emperor, or he's going to get angry as the game ends. And I think maybe it becomes like a timer that
the Fremen seem to be
if we don't,
into tribes.
If we're not playing the game and moving through the plot fast enough, the spice demands will become impossible for us to fulfill, and so it becomes a sort of, well, you run out of time kind of thing. So, okay.
It would be best for us to visit. Okay, Paul.
Okay.
I'm going with you.
The audio glitched a bit there. Oh, it's getting dark.
Select destination on Kartag, Timin.
I'm not sure if there's any rules about when we can and can't travel. Whether it's like if it's too late at night, we can't travel anymore. I did very quickly play this the other day, just to check it worked essentially. And I wandered out in the desert, got completely lost, and couldn't get back, and had to give up. I don't know. You'd have thought you'd die pretty quick if you're lost in the desert, but it didn't seem to kill me very quickly.
We saw you coming from the other siege.
I'm not quite sure that you're able to appreciate our skills.
I remember them making some spiced coffee as all plus, if my memory serves me correct in the film. Maybe I've screwed up. Maybe I need to get the other guy to come with me.
We're doing spice mining.
Okay, maybe not. I thought maybe I could get him to come with me and convince him, but it doesn't look like I can.
We saw you coming from the other siege.
Yes, I agree to let my troops work for you.
So the middle one's being a Mudo. He's not working for us, but this one will help us. So let's get.
We know a little about spice mining.
Yeah, get that spice. So we can just skip straight there to via the map. Some nice colours there. The sunsets are really good in this. Duncan.
I'm Duncan, Idaho. The Duke asked me to supervise
weird hairstyle
the
there.
production
Not sure
of
about that.
spice. Well, for the moment, I haven't much to do. I hope that we'll be able. If you really want to know about the properties of spice, ask your mother. Here are our current stocks of spice. Do remember that spice is by far the most
The spice is mined from the sand of Dune. I wonder what the proximity of
Guy anyone? No, it's just a random guard.
The Fremen have a special garment which they call a still suit. Wearing this, they can stay in the desert without losing body fluid.
Yep, no problem, Kiltech. Fully understand. I'm probably only going to play for another 40 minutes or something anyway. I was going to just give Dune a quick go, then do a very quick bit of Space Invaders. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. It's very kind of you to watch along. I hope you found some interest in it.
It would be
I'll be replaying Dune properly on a later stream. It won't be this weekend. It'll be another of these midday ones. I'm trying to do the weekend and the Friday streams, the same kind of content at the same time every single time. But this this kind of midday stream I can only do when basically I've got some kind of day off work. I don't want to start swapping the Saturday stream around all over the place and end up with people not knowing when it is, you see. So I'd say we'll do this again sometime.
And remember, avoid wandering in the desert. You won't go very far. The Fremen have a special garment which they call it would be advantageous. And remember.
So he's bibbling about still suits.
I wonder what the proximity of so much spice.
Oh yes, still shoots. Let me remember. That's it. The Fremen in the siege where we...
It's very nice, these videos, but we'll just skip there just to get things moving along. And talk to this old Fremen guy.
I thought you looked interested in my still suit. Yes, I know a still suit maker. You will find him if we're doing spice mining. Here are the characteristics of... Have a look at our spice production. We're doing spice mining. Here are the characteristics. Let me show you what we've done.
So
on
he
Spice
said we
Mining.
need to
It's a new job for us.
be with someone who
Should
knew
improve
where it
with some
was.
experience.
Let's just check my walkthrough. Okay, it seems to suggest that Gurney knows. Click on the screen again.
Select destination on map. Desert, eastward.
So I think we just fly to the east, and eventually Gurney will say, "Hey, look at that over there." I don't remember this game so well. I think the reason is I played the Phantom one again around 2000 kind of time. I think I played it the second time, whereas the Dune one I never played since the 90s, so I think this one's become quite hazy in my memory.
Wait a minute, I'm not sure. I think I've just seen a sea.
Looks a bit suspicious. Here we go.
Welcome to our siege, Paul Atreides.
So I'm going to play Dune for another 10 minutes, and then we'll do about 15-20 minutes of Super Space Invaders, and we'll call it a day at half past 3:30 in Japan time, if that sounds agreeable to people. Let's say we'll come back to Dune and we'll do a proper Dune day another time.
So, you want to know about the principles of our still suits? A still suit is basically...
We know what a still suit is.
Breathing and walking provide the pumping. I know of 2 more...
It's got weird hair as well. What's all these weird hair people?
Would be more than interested in meeting you, Paul Atreides.
So north and east.
Travel north and... We've heard of you! We've heard of you! Yes, I agree to let my troops work for you. My troop is awaiting your orders. I've seen a spice harvester around. There isn't anyone using it. It would be nice to have it. Here are the characteristics of my troop. I'm sure that we'll do a better job with this harvester.
Harvesting.
Select destination on map. Kartok Tower. We Fremen are the original inhabitants of Dune. Yes, I agree to let my troops
They
work
seem,
for you.
considering your Fremen are supposed to be these like rabid warriors, they seem to be quite passive and willing to take orders from any random
My troop
body
is
who turns
awaiting
up
your
asking for some spice. It seems a bit strange. Occupation. Oh, actually I misclicked that.
My troop is awaiting your orders.
There we go.
We are awaiting your orders.
Get
The
some
area
spice.
has to be prospected for spice before we start mining it. Have a look at the characteristics of... Okay? I don't think my troop feels the necessity to fight for you.
I suspect the existence of a troop of prospectors. Well, there has to be one. I'm convinced such a troop is nearby, probably in one of these already prospectors.
Select destination on map. Kono, Tuek.
We've got some night scenery here. Of course, it's just a palette switch of the same video. Nothing particularly revolutionary, but as I say, it's just another nice little touch to to a very old game that really, you know, was pushing the limits of the hardware just by doing a video at all. So to make a few simple colour changes to add some more detail to it, very nice.
So here is this Paul Atreides we've heard.
I mean, the other thing is,
yes, I agree.
the amount of processing power it would take to 3D render a video like that would probably been considerable in the time. So the game worked on a 38616, but they wouldn't have had more than a 48650 to work on, I don't think. That's what 7th Guest was rendered on, and it wouldn't have been massively fast rendering that kind of video on a machine like that.
The area has to be prospected for spice, but let me show you the statistics, okay?
Select destination on map. Kartag, Harg.
Yes, our area has been prospected for spice by a troop of Fremen who came here one. No, we don't know where they are now. At first, we're doing spice mining. May I show you the characteristics of my troop? May I show you the characteristics?
Okay, just looking at my my guide here. I think it's this middle one, the ones who refuse to work for me. I think they're the prospectors. So we'll go there and we'll see if we can get them to do some work for us. Just I'm going to end the Dune part, and we'll move on to Super Space Invaders as soon as we've talked to this guy. Then just keep things moving, because as I say, I want to stop at past today. I think Dune deserves a stream of its own. Just skip to the destination then.
We had heard rumors that, well, you're talking to the right person. My troop specializes in spice prospecting. I'm sure
They don't specialise in hair cutting, do they? Look at it. Looks like he's gone crazy with a set of clippers or something. Okay, so...
We had heard rumors that... good to see that our knowledge is... We are awaiting your orders. We're unbeatable in spice prospecting. Here, I have something you may find interesting. Here, take this map of the planet. You can update this map as we send back information to you.
Okay, well... I'm going to save the game, but I'll probably just restart from scratch next time anyway. And there we go. Okay, so the last game I wanted to do today was Super Space Invaders. Now, I bought this game... When I bought this game originally, I only had a PC 1512, which used 5¼ floppies. I think the game came on a 720k disc, but you could actually manage to like split the files up or something, get it running off the floppies. The game itself ran on virtually anything. The PC XT was just like an 88, I think, or something, but and only 512k. But it would also it would run on a CGA machine, which is the 4-color, EGA, which is 16-color with bad color palette, or VGA, which is the one we're all used to these days, which is what we're going to be running on here. But this game would run on any of them. It would also run with sound card or without any. Now, this game, the way I've set it up, should be set to work without a sound card, because normally it would work with AdLib, but that's not how I originally heard it, and I wanted to sort of present it to you as I originally came across it, which is why it seemed so remarkable at the time, because you got to bear in mind that a lot of people around the early 90s didn't have sound cards, And a lot of people who didn't own PCs or didn't have much knowledge of them only knew the ones that were lurking around at school and things, and they never had sound cards. So the sort of stereotype was the NES has good sound, the Amiga has good sound, everything has good sound except the PC, because the PC's got no speak, it just like makes it a beep. And this one didn't. This one they actually put some effort into the beeper. So let's... And this is what it sounded like. So this is the introduction. It took up half of the game pretty much. So this little video animation, again, it was really something to see at the time, because a lot of games didn't have this kind of thing. And yeah, I would say quite impressive for the day, with some nice music as well. And there's like a little joke here that there's huge amount of weaponry attached to the ship, and they look scared and get blown away. And then we get the title screen here. Now this dump's obviously slightly iffy, or the emulator's not working right, because it drops to the command line. Now, just as an added bonus, we can actually watch the end sequence without doing any work, because it's just another file. So we'll have a look at that as well. It's just for some fun. But as I say, this is these kind of sound effects were really quite impressive for a beeper speaker, which is no sound card at all really. But and this was something that would work on basically any PC at all. I think would run this game. Not necessarily with these graphics, but with the black and white graphics at least, it would work. Very impressive. Again, a cute little thing of it wiping out the Burger King. And then this is the actual game file, and we even get a second introduction here. So we'll let this run. We'll let it have its little moment here. So we get introduction to the game here. And a Space Invaders machine has been blown into space for some reason. I don't think that Space Invaders machines are going to survive to 2061. Anyway. And an alien spaceship has taken it on, and blah blah blah. It's the exact same plot of Galaxy Quest, and also, is it the same plot as Pixels? That stupid film? I don't know. Anyway. And then that happens. So the game is set in the year 2091. Well, at least we're not going to be all sitting around in 2091 complaining about how inaccurate it was. I guess that's something they did right. Something must be done before tea time. Yeah, quite funny. Now, this game did come out on quite a few systems, and I don't think it's very good on many of them. I don't think it's better than the PC version. I've got it on the Master System, and it's like, well, it's okay, but it doesn't really do a lot for me, to be honest. Okay, so here we go. The controls were a little bit odd. So, the game itself is exactly what you would expect, and it does a good job of what it tries to do. So it's just a remake of Space Invaders with a few, with better graphics, obviously, and a few nice features. If we shoot those ships at the top, we'll get some nice power-ups, and there's a wide range of power-ups as well. Did a really good job of that. The game itself has a variety of snazzy backgrounds, although I don't think you got those if you played it on CGA, which is understandable. And then after the first one, you get these alternate rounds where some kind of power up there. That's a super weapon, and you can use those to just sort of quickly wipe out. There are a variety of super weapons. There's lasers, and there's a butterfly that freezes time, which is a bit weird. Oh, there it is. There's the old butterfly. And it's frozen time with the enemy fire right in my way, so I can't actually do anything. Ah! Go on, get out of the way, butterfly. And now we get the double width ones. I did play, I forget the name of it, but I did play, is it Space Invaders Extreme, the one on the PSP? I didn't really care about that. I didn't find it very impressive. This felt like a decent combination of sticking to the original and adding new stuff, and this is funny. Why can't I move? I can't move. Did I die at the very end of the last level or something? That it's confused the game engine. Anyway, I'm playing as player 2 here, so we have to save the cows from the aliens, and you can probably guess, but this is a pun on the whole thing of the farmers always claiming that the aliens came down from space and killed their cows or stole their cows and things. So they've turned it into a kind of an actual thing in this game that the aliens are coming down and trying to steal cows. So it's a shame there's no crop circle one as well, but as I say, it's basically parodying that. It's quite funny. So now we've got a level select. I seem to remember this as a nice background. Look at the size of that. So yeah, again, as I say, we've got some quite it's quite nice combination of, you know, more of the same and some original stuff as well. Can I move back to the original controls? No, they're still stuck. What's going on? Oh no, it's alright, it's alright, it's just working. Yeah, as I say, this is, I mean, I'm not aware there's a better home version of this game than this one. And the game itself, as I say, there's nothing amazing to look at, but it was one that I felt they went above and beyond by supporting so many old computers, so many screen modes, and also having an introduction with music on the beeper speaker, which, you know, was basically unheard of, to my knowledge, for the day. We'll probably play this game again. Oh! What did I do wrong there? Oh well. Well, anyway, it doesn't. I mean, I don't know quite what. I don't know if I pressed the wrong key there and managed to quit my game, or if the copy's bugged or something. But as I say, it's a pleasant little game. There's nothing really more to it, you know. It's a fun game that you can play 1 or 2 player if you wish, and there was, of course, another game that was a bit similar, which was Mega Phoenix, which was released on the Amstrad CPC, and that was terrible. I mean, it was a tiny game. It looked, what was there looked great, but there was so little of it. It was just like, why did they bother? They barely did, is the truth of it. Whereas I say, this is a good example of how to remake a game and stay faithful to the original, but still add just a little bit of new stuff to it as well. anyway, I'm going to play for just another 5 minutes and then I will be calling an end to this live stream because I've got other things to do on my day off, unfortunately, I'm afraid. I did have thoroughly enjoyed doing this stream, but I have pesky things like accounting to do, so I can't spend all day doing this. I'll be doing another live stream at 5 AM Japan time, which is early evening on Thursday, I believe. It's Friday Japan time, but it's Thursday UK. So that stream should already be scheduled on my channel. So if you're interested, please join me for that. That's a programming stream. I'm going to be trying to disassemble Phantasy Star Online. Oh, not Phantasy Star Online, sorry, that's the new one. Phantasy Star, the old Famicom Master System game, is it? The Master System game. I've had a patron ask me about that. Now, I'm not a big fan of disassembly, but I've crashed the game. I need to learn the proper controls for this game. I seem to have paused it somehow, and I don't know how to unpause it. Anyway, we'll call it a day here because I'm obviously messing my controls up here. So, yeah, if you're interested in watching a Master System be disassembled, please join me for the Friday stream. I'll be back on Saturday. I'll be doing Super Famicom gaming. And if you don't know, from my channel, I actually work on a real system. We won't be using any kind of emulators. It will be a... wrong one there, sorry. So if you want to see some kick keyboard to play, I don't know what's going on, as the keys maybe have changed or I've messed them up. Bubble. Yeah, well, we'll be doing some Bubble Bobble. I'm a big fan of Bubble Bobble. We'll be doing some Bubble Bobble at some point. I do have a rather odd stream I'm planning to do in a week's time, which will feature Bubble Bobble. We'll discuss that later on, though. But yeah, I'll be doing Super Nintendo gaming on a real Super Nintendo. I don't usually use emulators. I use DOSBox for this, obviously, but normally I try and use real hardware. And so if you want to see some real hardware and some Super Famicom, please join me on Saturday. That will be early, about 9 o'clock in the UK, or it's 6 PM in Japan. Again, should be scheduled on my channel already, so please join me for that if you want to do some programming. Thanks Kiltech for watching earlier, he's probably left now. And Azul Plus, thanks for joining me until now. It's been very kind of you. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Anyway, I hope you enjoy whatever you're doing with the rest of your day, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening. Thanks a lot and take care now.